Hello, welcome back to the Goat Cave podcast. Today we are doing the Trails episode with Ryan Reynard, right?
Reynard.
There we
close.
go.
That was good. Everybody gets it.
Dude, I butcher everybody's name on this podcast.
Mine's easy.
Ian Noseworthy.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah. What's funny is like every single time that I was typing it up in here, Google, or not Google, but like my autocorrect is like, that's not a word. Like it's a last name. It's capitalized. What the fuck?
Just leave it alone.
It's often misspelled. People are like, don't want to spell it the way it's spelled.
Yeah.
Very easy.
There you go. Yeah, I know it is pretty easy to spell. I was like, this is pretty good. You know, fucking hit my head a couple times. So it's an easy one. Oh, man. So podcast updates. Last week on the show, we had Braden Hansen, who has rode every day for over 200 days straight now. That was such a good time. I don't know if you guys have met that kid. He's from Stratford, just normal Stratford local. Caleb Smith came on and co-hosted, and
Awesome.
Caleb's the best. You've definitely met Caleb.
Yeah, Caleb's the man.
Yeah, he's fucking rad. But yeah, we, chatted about just staying motivated, some of the struggles of riding every single day for 200 days straight, including all the fucking snow outside.
Yeah.
Like they drove through a snowstorm to get here. They got here. We did the podcast, had a couple beers, and then he's like, well, I got to go ride. So he fucking goes out to the car, grabs Caleb's bike, and like my neighbors have like a ledge in front of their house. It's got like a foot of snow on it. Fucking goes up, feeble grind right away.
It counts.
Yeah.
It counts.
Oh, man.
Anything.
And then I tried to get in on it and tried to do like a forward slider. So instead of like, sliding
Take
backwards.
advantage of the snow.
Yeah, you just fucking turn the wheel and try and go forwards. I ate shit so fucking hard. And it'll be on tomorrow's episode for Bail of the Week.
Beautiful.
Maybe I'll win that frame. That'd be pretty nice. But yeah, for tomorrow, we have Adam Maroka from Station BMX in Hamilton. Join us as we chat about owning a BMX shop, the local scene in Hamilton. We're going to do Bail of the Week and all of our other segments here on the Goat Cave podcast. Today, let's jump into this. I'm super excited, about today's episode. We're talking about trail riding. Trails have been a slowly dying art form in BMX within the last 15 years, I'd say. And people like Ryan and Ian are keeping trails alive and well. These two dudes have spent years riding and building trails, and it has shaped their riding in many ways. The people they have become. Ryan even went as far as building a full set of 6 jumps in his backyard in the middle of the city, which is insane. Taylor, my girlfriend, wanted to say that you live in the second best London in the world.
It's
so
true.
she put that in brackets, so I guess I have to say it.
Yeah.
Since building these jumps, he has helped shape the local BMX scene in London, and it's super rad to see trail riding alive and well in the hearts of Ryan and Ian. Dudes, how the hell are you?
Doing good, man. Happy to be here. This is super cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Amazing. Yeah,
Cool.
this is awesome.
Cool, man. I'm always so humbled because, like, to me, I'm just like, yeah, it's just an internet thing.
Yeah,
but, like,
yeah.
everybody that comes in, like, this is awesome, man. I'm so stoked. This is like a dream come true.
This
I'm
is
like,
crazy.
all right,
Yeah,
slow
yeah.
down. We're on episode 24. Oh, man. So let's go way back to when you guys first started riding. Ian, let's start with you. How did you get into riding?
To be honest, really, really young. I was at Science Center of all places, and they had an expose. I really don't know the riders. I couldn't remember at that age who they were, but I seen them riding, and it was just a half pipe. It was a full vert, and I was just mesmerized by it. And that was my first kind of exposure to it. And then shortly after that, some kids in the neighborhood, older kids, I seen them doing freestyle, and this would have been mid 80s, 85, 86. And I would have seen these guys doing endos and, Miami hoppers and stuff. And that kind of started the interest. And then I would say my actual first, progression from jumping off like a cinder block and kind of wood where everybody tends to start was I moved close to Milton, and there was a track called Track 2000 there. So a local buddy of mine, actually a trail building legend himself, Jay Kilborn, said, why don't you come out to the racetrack? I was about 12 years old at the time. That would have been the early 90s. And I said, sure. So we went out to this racetrack, and that was pretty fun. And I thought that was cool. But what I thought was cool, it was after the races, there was a whole bunch of the crowd of people that went to a set of private trails, which back in the day were built in Martin Street in Milton. and they called them Martin Street Trails, and seeing, I think that was much more interesting, seeing the freestyle aspect of it than the racing. I did pursue the racing for a little while, but eventually the trail scene and the freestyle stuff kind of pulled me much further into it, and that's kind of my start, I guess.
Hell yeah, man. That's really cool. And did you mention what your first bike was? I feel like I might have missed that there.
I didn't.
Okay.
But, my first real jumping bike was a Norco.
Nice.
And that lasted probably about 2 years before
Damn.
I cracked it.
Yeah. That's actually pretty good, especially for back then. You know, like we had the Fids on the show, and he was saying that when he, like, you know, was first starting out or like doing his stuff back then, he was breaking frames every fucking week. And like he'd be, you know, messaging Chris from S&M because he was sponsored by them. He's like, yeah, you got to send me more parts, man. They're broken. It's like, motherfucker. Like,
it was always rims for me. The technology back then was terrible for the wheels, even with the 48 spoke stuff.
Yeah, and that's kind of how, like, sorry to interrupt you there, but that's kind of how brakeless became a thing. You know what I mean? At least for a lot of people, brakeless riding is just because the wheels sucked. Like, nowadays, brakes are coming back because wheels are fucking strong.
They're better,
Yeah.
The technology's
So,
better.
sorry, continue there. You're breaking wheels,
But
breaking...
that was basically wheels was my big one. I was constantly, a real wheel, I'd go through one every 3 weeks.
Oh,
So,
damn.
Yeah, but back then, I mean, they legitimately, I mean, it wasn't cassettes and stuff, so you would buy, it was cheaper to buy a complete wheel than to actually lace something together. So you'd buy these cheap, what would have been like a Solvo style hub with a freewheel on it, and it would be 48, and you'd go out for hopefully a month and shred it.
Hope it doesn't loosen up.
Hell yeah. And Ryan, how did you get into riding?
I think for forever, you know, I've watched stuff on TV way back in the day, but London was pretty good. I would say way back when I was young, I would say 6, 7, 8 years old, you know, like people like Paul Buchanan are out of London. So there was, you know, I think right when we started riding really young, getting into dirt, the scene was kind of fading away. But at the same time, I think we just missed like you know, there used to be an epic scene right before that, you know what I mean? So we were catching the tail end of the up and down of BMX over the years. But I think my first really, you know, I jumped curbs from when I was 3 and 4 and 5 years old. I've always been riding my bike, but then like Ian says, you start breaking stuff and you can't keep up with it. So then I skateboarded for a few years. And, but once I started working and stuff was, I think when I really started getting into riding, I was probably 14, 15 years old. And my first bike was, like the first one that I bought that was a good effort to put together a really solid bike was a white DK generally.
Oh,
and
nice.
you know, it was because Doyle and you know, you watching him ride it around and all that stuff, and it was an awesome frame lasted a long time, but you know, it was long, and I'm a short guy, so then you learn about geometry just because you bought a long bike, and you know, ever since then I've been buying shorter and shorter and kind of finding my sweet spot, but I would say, 14, 15, we were riding at Vauxhall Park was kind of the big, you know, I'm going to ride now for, you know, I'm hooked and I'm stuck. I'm going to keep riding forever and ever. Just because the trail scene there was awesome. It was awesome. Guys I think about that kind of kept me in it were John Hill was big in London. If anybody's ever ridden dirt in London, you know, they probably know the name John Hill from building all the trails all over town that everybody rode. So those guys were probably the guys that inspired me to ride, you know.
Hell yeah, man. That's really cool. It's always like, I really just love, that's why I always ask this question just about how people got into riding, because everybody's story is so different, but so similar. You know what I mean? Like everybody had that brick with the piece of wood.
Of
you know,
course.
everybody started out that way.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool that, like, you can see that just these little tiny things bring so much more, you know? Like, think about where BMX has taken you in your life. Like, you know, both of you guys have huge sets of trails. Like, yours are in the middle of the city, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, as somebody who uses Google Maps to find, like, street spots and stuff all the time,
I know,
and, like,
right?
you know, Skyview, you can't even
You
fucking
can't
see
find
them.
it. I know.
That's hidden, man. That's hidden.
I know. I'm like, I told my girlfriend last night, I'm like, I looked, couldn't find it. Like, I got my
find it.
phone out, I'm showing her,
Yeah.
like, where's the dirt jumps?
Yeah.
It's like, no, you got to do it on your computer. It has a different year on it. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I'm not gonna find it.
It's the same,
like, there's no way.
Yeah. No, I've been pretty lucky. The way that the block is situated and the way my property is shaped, you know, in the trees, you can't see it. I used to have a roll in and it rotted and you know, I took it down, but you used to be able to see that.
Yeah.
In the overhead on Google Maps. But,
Damn. Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so crazy because, like, to anybody that's listening that's obviously never been to your place before or anything, the way that your jumps are set up and the way that your, like, property line is so fucking perfect. So, like, you have, like, a pretty nice looking house from the outside. I'm not going to say anything about it.
Yeah.
But then you go into the backyard. There's just a normal backyard with, like, a fence. Then you go to the back of the fence, you open the fence, and there's a fucking full set of trails, like, just out of the blue. Like, I remember the first time I went there, I'm like, where the fuck is Caleb taking us? Like, we're in the backyard. I'm like, I don't see any trails.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on
Yeah.
We're
here?
in a neighborhood. There's no trail. I don't even
Yeah.
see trees.
Yeah. No,
So then-
so everybody says the same thing, right? Like they're expecting to show up and they're like, oh, well, you know, I don't see anything and I'm expecting one or two jumps, you know, but then you go around the corner.
Yeah, I know. We, like, that was the other thing, too, is, like, you know, we drove from, like, an hour and a half away. Not that far.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
still one of those things where it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
like,
we're
oh,
taking
shit.
3 hours out of our day just to drive to some jumps. Like, I hope
Yeah.
these are, like, good. You know what I mean? And, like,
Suburbia.
yeah. So then, you know, we show up and, you know, I'm not going to say too much, but your property line is shaped like an L.
Yeah.
So, like, you literally have, like, a big square in the backyard and then just the longest fucking rectangle, like literally 300 feet by probably 50 feet wide.
And I got the plans. It's smaller. It's 40 by 220.
Okay, yeah.
But it's enough to have the circle, right? So you got you got
dude.
a 6-pack and some berms and then a 6-pack.
You know, one of the things that I was thinking about when we were, like, when I was typing all this stuff up is, like, what could you have done to make those jumps, like, better or flow better? And honestly,
I know.
I don't think there's any way
I
you
still
could
think
have.
about it though, right? They've been back there 10 years, and I still think about that. What could I do to? And I was trying to keep it so that it wasn't 2 jumps, you know, and then you're done.
Yeah.
Right? Because I wanted everybody wants to have a 20-foot gap with 15-foot tall landing.
Yeah.
But when you only have 200 feet, you know, you're kind of like, oh, you maybe have 2 of those, right? And then
Where do you get the speed?
Where do you get the speed? You got to build a big ramp up the side of your house or something like that. So I was trying to keep it just box jumps, just like if you were to ride a wooden rhythm section at any skate park, you know, you got like 6-foot lips with step up landings and trying to keep it mellow, but at the same time I wanted that trail flow, so I added a couple of up and down. You go into the ground and over some berms and just keep the flow. So that ultimately I wanted it to make it so a full circle and you never had to pedal, so you just maintain your speed through pumping and riding, but it's close.
It's pretty fucking good, dude. Like, one of the other
That's
things.
The average is 3. Just the get go is the 3.
Yeah. One of the things that I love about your jumps is that in the middle of them you actually have like a little pump track section.
Yeah.
Something that, like, it's nothing crazy, but it's one of those things that you can go from the very back, which is my favorite thing to do. Go to that very back of the lot.
Yeah.
Just pump through that and then hit the, like, spine that you have.
Yep.
And then just fucking go full force.
Yeah.
And, like, what I love too is that first berm is that, like, if you're not committed, you're going over. Like, it's fucking tight.
That's so true, right?
And it's like, the first time that I went there, first time that I tried to hit it, I'm like, all right, let's fucking do this. And you would never think that a berm, like, especially after riding for as long as I have, you would never think a berm would fuck you up. Like, just turn. It's a corner.
I think
you fucking go so fast, and then all of a sudden you're flying out into the bush. Like, holy shit, there's a fence. What am I doing?
I think sometimes, like, after you ride a set for so long, you miss all the little nuances that you had to learn, and then, like, you see someone new come there, and it's almost, you can almost pick the spots they're going to always struggle at, right?
Yeah.
It's for
100%.
generally always the first exit of that berm people want to blow out.
Yeah.
And then after the third one going into the second berm, a lot of people struggle there.
Yeah, that third one, I've only ever cleared the fourth jump once, which makes me really sad because next year I'm coming back. I'm doing them all. I fucking need to, especially because I have, like, the perfect idea. And anybody that has been to your jumps and is listening right now, don't you dare steal this fucking clip from me. I want to do a 360 on the third one. So, like, I spin left. So nice big, like, dumped 360 over the third one, land, carve through the berm, and then a nice, like, turn down over the fourth one.
The fourth one. That's your
I
side
bet that
too,
would
right?
be like,
because it's a little bit of a hip.
Yeah, it's like, that would be fucking perfect, man. I bet that would be such a good feeling, like, line to do there.
Yeah, nice and smooth.
Yeah.
It'll be ready.
Yeah, man. It's pretty
They'll be
fucking
there.
crazy. I'm excited, dude. I was so sad because I wanted to try and make it out sometime in October. Because last time that we went with with Ben, who's from the UK,
the traveler.
the traveling man.
Yeah.
He kills it, man. He was really cool. Like, meeting him. But I was kind of sad that he didn't ride the jumps. But I did know that like dirt jumps aren't his thing.
I was watching. I cruised his Instagram there, and he's a badass rider. But yeah, obviously, trails wasn't his forte. But,
trails is definitely not his thing. And then, the next day we went out to Christie Dam, which I don't know if you've ever been there. Have you been to Christie Dam?
I feel like the name sounds familiar. I'm so bad at names. But...
Christie Dam is a dam near the Hamilton area or Dundas area. Basically, you have to walk like a kilometer into the fucking bush, into the woods and whatever. And then all of a sudden you just come out and there's this fucking ginormous dam. It's like literally 300 feet long. Maybe even, honestly, I would say close to 500 feet long, because now that I'm thinking about your backyard, it's 220 feet. Yeah, it's got to be at least like 400 feet long, this dam. And the first like 100 feet of it kind of like they have different levels, so like this one, and then this one, the bottom one goes for like so long, but
it's got transition to
yeah,
it.
It's all
transition. I think I saw the photos.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard of it. I've never ridden it.
It's really cool. I have to find a photo of that now. I'm like,
I want to say Caleb was there.
Yeah, I took
where
Caleb
I saw
there.
The Insta photos.
Yeah, so the day after we went there, I took Ben there, and then we went to Waterdown Skate Park, which Waterdown's incredible, dude.
Park.
Yeah. And he's like such a spine mini shredder. I had no idea.
Oh,
So like we
sweet.
took him to, the Chicken Bowl, which we were talking about before the show. And like he was okay there. He was just, for him, like the weather here in the summer was so fucking hot. And I was like, I can't believe that, because like, I don't know. I'm like, it doesn't get that hot here. You know what I mean? But he was dying. He's like, I can't fucking do it, man. We go to the like one park after that, and he does okay there. And then like the next day, and then the day after, I'm like, holy shit, this fucking dude shreds like so hard. I knew that he was a shredder, but damn, dude, he was doing like the craziest spine tricks. Sorry, I'm just gonna try and pull up a photo of this because I know I have one on here.
Yeah, I saw it. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it's incredible, man. It's such a good spot. Where is this? Sorry, guys. So let's talk about how you actually got like the area that you have to build jumps.
Oh,
so
it's total luck.
Yeah.
Total luck. My girlfriend and I, at the time, we were buying a house, and we had realtors take us all over the city looking at houses, and didn't see anything. I'm not far from like where I grew up, so I said to her one night, let's just go drive around my neighborhood and see if there's anything around here, because it was relatively affordable, and it was in a decent neck of town, and so we just drove around, and I saw it was for sale, and so went and had a look, and I didn't know it was there, the L-shaped property where I could build the jumps. But ultimately, I was looking for a big piece of land. Of course, I said to my realtor, hey, find me something with a big piece of land, and this is how much money I want to spend. And he laughed at me, right? Because I want a lot of land, and it wasn't a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, so I walked in this backyard, and I looked. I was like, holy shit! Like, I don't even need to look at the house. Like, we just sign now. I'll take it. I knew right away that that's what I was going to put back there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And those jumps that are back there, like, the area is so perfect because there's trees going all along them, so like it doesn't bother your neighbors because they can't even see them.
Nobody said anything really negative to me over the years. Everybody kind of sticks their head over and inquires as to what are you doing, and then they'll see us back there one day and they know what we're doing because they see us flying around, and everybody's pretty cool. I have some older people on my street, and their grandkids will climb up the fence and sit on the fence and watch us ride. And everybody's really cool. I think there was a lady down the road that when I first started putting the shovel in the ground, she was looking at me, and she came over and asked one day, and I told her it was for riding a bicycle.
Yeah.
And she just said that I'm not a motorcycle, and I said no, just a BMX bike, a pedal bike. And and she was like, okay, and she went.
Yeah, she wasn't down for Zeb Dennis coming through, eh?
Yeah.
Jumping that shit. Yeah. Throwing her into fourth.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Can't imagine why.
Everybody's been really cool. Like, all the neighbors are, I'd say they're more excited it's back there than negative about it, which is amazing, right? Like, that's super cool.
Yeah,
the
you
one couple
definitely.
at the end there, they tend to enjoy it. They're
Oh, yeah.
quite friendly, and they'll talk to us, and They definitely watch us ride for a bit.
It's always so funny because like whenever you start getting into talking about BMX with like strangers that don't know anything about it, it's so foreign to them. And for us, it's like, how do you explain it? It's literally like trying to fucking talk to an alien. Like
100% brain, right? Like,
yeah.
I guarantee all of us at the table here. Like I obviously know you don't know this well, but I would say like I can't drive down the street or go anywhere without looking at obstacles.
Of
with
course.
the BMX brain, like everything from structures and buildings and stuff like that to anything. I could launch off that. And it happens from when you're a kid. You're doodling through class, you're drawing jumps, and that's your brain just develops that way, right?
Oh, exactly. And like, I've gone as far as like, because I do filming as well. Like that's how I got into BMX was really like, I rode for a couple of years, but then I started wanting to film videos of myself. And then it went to, filming videos of my friends and then full length DVDs. And now a podcast, you know what I mean? So, but one of those things that like really is so weird for people is like just trying to explain how you go and ride street. So like I have an Instagram page that I run that's like, I don't let anybody fucking follow it. There's like 40 people that follow it. It's a private Instagram page for spots on like in Kitchener that we go and ride. And like, if anybody ever got on there that doesn't understand skateboarding, BMX, scootering, any of that stuff, they'd just be like, why are they taking photos of railings and buildings? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, this is so weird. But it's like...
what is this picture of?
The
rail. You don't see the rail?
Yeah,
Look at
I
the
know.
bank. It's an amazing setup. How is it different from the other rail?
It's just one of those things where it's like, nobody would get it. They'd be like, okay, fucking weirdo. Like, what are you doing? It's also like, I've been out trying to find spots at 3 a.m. with a good buddy of mine, Travis. He's the best. He's like street god when it comes to finding spots. That's all he wants to do. That's like, he tries to find spots more than he rides. Anyways.
Sounds almost like a trail builder.
Yeah, he's just digging more.
Right? So he's like, we would go out at like 3 a.m. trying to find spots and fucking cops would show up. Like, yeah, we had a suspicious call. Like, people were saying that you guys were trying to break in. We're like, no. Like, well, they said you guys had like a flashlight. I'm like, oh, this? Like, that fucking filming light? Like, I can't believe it already died out on me. What the hell? I might try and turn that back on, see if it'll work. But yeah, anyways, like, just one of those things with fucking cops are like, what are you doing? You're trying to ride your bicycle on this rail? Like, no, I don't think so. Like, it is trespassing. I guess I can tell you guys to leave, but like, I don't know why you're doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I remember me and Jordan Bonifacio used to live together for years, and we built trails just down the street from our house.
Behind the church on Dundas?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I remember within probably maybe the first 3 weeks of us building jumps back there, a concerned citizen had called in and didn't know what we were doing with shovels in the forest. So here the cops roll in, and the cop, when he finally sees us, is kind of laughing. He says, I thought you guys were doing something a little different back then. Of course, this is like 10 years ago, so, the old reefer wasn't so accepted. Yeah. He thought, well, that's what we were up to, but he's seen the jumps. And, of course, me and Jordan come ripping through the jumps. We're just riding, right? Yeah. Next thing you know, you look over midair and you see 2 cops standing there. Your heart's pounding.
They got their fucking hand on their gun. Like, are they burying a fucking body? What's going on?
What are these boys doing?
Yeah. Jeez, man. Good old Bonnie BMX. You guys, if you are listening after this episode, of course, go and check out the Ride and Rampco episode, guys. It was so good. I love Jordan.
Absolutely. He's a legend.
He is unreal.
Both on and off the bike.
Yeah, Jordan's unreal. And then, of course, Steve Versteeg, which you guys probably don't know him, but he worked it all in with me for a couple months, and he's like definitely one of Jordan's right-hand mans now.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I know Steve.
Yeah, he is incredible.
Really well,
yeah, Steve's awesome. I love Steve. He's like one of the best dudes I've ever met. We also we're really into ska music and ska punk, so we always go to like ska shows together. Like I messaged him a couple months ago. I was like, "Hey, let's go to a Laura Brewing Company. They're having a ska show there." Didn't hear back from him. Taylor and I show up, and him and his fucking girlfriend are sitting at the table. Like, "Where are you? Where were you guys? We were gonna like hang out and have dinner." I'm like, "Well, fucking message a month and a half ago would have been nice." Like. No, it's just one of those things where I'm like, I have so much in common with Steve, and I love it. He's like such a hardworking dude when it comes to physical work. Me, I ain't fucking doing that, man. Like, I'll sit here on my computer and do this shit all night. That's fine. But yeah. Did we say what your first bike was?
DK generally, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, man. Those General Lees are still a thing, aren't they?
I still have it, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I got a frame rack at home. And
Nice.
I've got a couple of frames on that I've kept over the years.
That's sick. Yeah, I have a couple at my dad's house that I have to bring here. They're all cracked, every
Yeah.
single one of them.
Yeah.
But I love those things, man.
Oh yeah.
So let's see. Can you guys remember the first time you rode a set of trails? Ian, let's start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was saying, kind of how I got into it was getting introduced to the Martin Street trails in Milton after the racetrack. And I mean, back then there was two brothers that built those set of trails. They were AA pro racers named the Rowley brothers, Jay and Bob. And they were not only trail builders, but they actually built tracks for NBA as well. And I remember watching them, as a youngin', watching them blast huge airs through the trails and just kind of wanting to do that. And of course, you're 12 years old at that point. I was still working on a single jump, learning how to manage that. But that was the exposure to it and kind of led into my desire to be able to flow like that.
Hell yeah. And Ryan, yourself.
Yeah, it was Vauxhall Park. It was, I had gone there and rode a handful of times just trying to do what the other guys were doing. And one of the guys said, you could do the big gap, just step up to it. And then he egged me on with $5. He says, and I was like 13 or 12 or something. And it was like an 8-foot lip with a 10-foot gap. It was a double,
Nice.
And I was scared, and $5. And so I sent it, and he's like, I'm not giving you the $5. And I was so stoked that I didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like I just did my first double, and it was a big one, and I didn't die. And so from then on,
Hooked.
it's been, that was it. That was it.
Yeah. So for me, the first time that I ever rode like trails, real trails, definitely not that often. Like the city of Kitchener, they obviously have Trashmore, which is a public park, which has dirt jumps there. I wouldn't really call them trails. There's a couple berms and stuff. They're not bad when they are maintained. The big problem is that the city will pay somebody to maintain them once, and then the whole season they just get fucked.
Yeah.
So like the first 2 weeks that those jumps are, maintained, they're pretty good for like the first week. Second week starts to be shitty. Week after that, don't fucking bother.
Yeah.
But anyways, the first time that I rode like some back bush like trails was a good friend of mine, Brad Bunnell. He made the Step Up in Kitchener. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, maybe rumors about it. But anyways, it's like, they had one big trick jump. He was building some jumps off to the side, and the way that it worked is that you would walk through about 5 minutes worth of forest, and then all of a sudden you're in this like valley. You're on top of this like hill, and then you would hit this. You got like maybe 20 feet of run up that's slightly down and then flat for like 5 feet, and then there's a little jump, and we used to call it the decider jump because it's a step down. It's very small. It's only like 5 feet, but then you land, like you literally land, and then there's a small berm. Like I'm talking this tall of a berm, and everybody fucking went over that berm at some point. Like everybody did. But then you would come down this fucking hill straight at this jump, and the lip of the jump was about 8 feet, I would say. They had built it into the hill. So you'd basically just take a shovel and start fucking digging. It's probably like 6 feet into the actual hill. And then, it's very, very shallow, like on the sides, I guess. So, like, you're going in and you only got about 3 inches on each side of dirt, So, like, you hit this fucking jump and you boost up. It's about an 8-foot step up, I would say, with a 10-foot gap. And it shot you so fucking high. Like, the first time that I hit that was, like, one of those moments where I was like, holy shit. I'm actually starting to become a decent rider. Yeah. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, oh my God.
You're high enough to think about how high you are.
That's the thing. I'm like, I took a couple of my friends there at the time, and fucking, like, none of them were down. They're like, no, this is fucked. And, like, eventually they definitely hit them, and they did do some stuff, and it sucks, but the step up ended up getting ripped out by the city. Rumor is that somebody was walking their dog through there, found the jumps, and called the city.
That's the way.
So yeah. And I think the city probably knew about it because the entrance was behind like this weird industrial Rogers building.
Yeah.
So like where all the fucking Rogers trucks park or whatever, you would just like walk behind the dumpster and just walk through this forest. And it's kind of like a well-known area. Like there's a bunch of like public paved trails there.
Yeah.
So I can't believe how long they lasted there because it was there for a good 4 or 5 years. So then, like, on the way back, there was a little, you kind of go through these trees, and the whole thing was that they tried to cut down literally, like, the least amount of trees that they could.
Yep.
They just left it. They were like, nope, we can't fuck with it. That's a good way to get caught, too, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, you'd hit this little, like, jump that's in the hill, and then you've got a nice right hip, and then there was, like, a big roller, and then around it, I had started to build like a berm hip. So you'd go into the berm and then you'd have to gap like into this other thing and there was going to be another jump. But it never really got finished, There was another line on the side that they were starting to build and I never saw anybody ever hit that line because it was so scary. It was literally on the side of a fucking hill. And not like a small hill. Like literally if you missed or if you landed in the transition and then like, I don't know, the whole thing was that it was a slight like curve to it on the side of a hill. So like if you missed, you're going right off the fucking side, like 10 feet down onto a fucking log.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was so crazy, man. Like the way that those jumps were fucking built, like it's insane what you can do with some dirt and a bike,
It's true. It's so true.
Creativity is some of the funnest part of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to explain these jumps, man. I wish I had more photos and stuff, but fuck, man, they were so crazy. Like I definitely think that there's got to be people that were hitting that like sideline, but I never saw anybody hit it. Like, fuck, it would have been so cool though.
It's been a long time since in London anyway. Like I know, like back in the day, when I was young and started riding, there was 2 or 3 spots you could go ride in town where somebody had taken a shovel into the bush and made something that you could go and ride. Where nowadays, like I don't see it anywhere. You know what I mean? We go for street rides or you go ride around town and nobody's talking about it, right? And there's more concrete parks in town. When back then there was nothing. There was no parks in town.
You had to create your own fun.
Yeah, so we made them, but I haven't seen anybody go into the bush and start
quite a
hacking
while,
at it in a long time. Yeah, it's kind of. But I understand it too because everything we ever built, got plowed at some point, or if it didn't get plowed, we just. The property that it was on got to the point where you couldn't go there anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that's fucking rough. Like, I hate seeing the cities rip those down, but, like, realistically, it is one of those things where, like, you're going on to somebody else's land and building these fucking jumps. They got to do something about it. It sucks, but, like, I went to a boarding school in London. It's actually pretty close to you. So they have Robarts for the deaf really close for you.
Yeah.
And in that school, they also have a thing called Amethyst, which is like they help kids with learning disabilities or they just learn
100%.
differently.
Yeah.
So I went there. And like interesting thing about that school, only 40 kids in Ontario are eligible to go each year. And I went twice. Like it's fucking pretty crazy, man.
Yeah.
Especially like, moving away from home at like 13 years old. You're fucking living in a dorm. Like so crazy.
Wow.
But our counselors, they took us out this one day to go on this like walking path trail, and they were like, hey, there's some dirt jumps around here because I know you like BMX. There's some dirt jumps.
Cheapside wasn't even a full road.
Yeah.
I know where you were. It was behind Fanshawe, right? It was down a hill along single track trail and some jumps.
Probably.
Yeah,
So anyways, there was some jumps there, and I was excited to go and look at them.
Ones that you were building?
No. But this was, remember when Cheapside didn't go all the way through behind Fanshawe? It used to be just a dead end road.
Well, was this before pre-2001?
Yeah, way back.
Definitely not
moved
that
into
long
London in
ago.
2001.
Yeah, okay.
So I went to this school in 2013, or 2012, I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty young. I don't know if you knew that. I'm like 23.
23.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, pretty good, man. Look a lot older.
A
That's
few
for
years
sure.
left.
Yeah, look a lot older with this fucking thing. But yeah, anyways, we were gonna go and look at these jumps and just go for like a walk with our like dorm mates and stuff, and fucking show up there. Jumps are plowed. They got plowed earlier that week. Like literally, they were like, I was here on Sunday and they were still here, and now it's like you could tell that they had literally ripped them right out and flattened them. It's like fuck.
Probably damaged more trees driving.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. That whole area that had those jumps looked fucked. Like it literally looked like somebody just drove a plow straight through it, didn't care about anything. Like that's fucked, man. That's one of the things that I love about like trail riding is that if you can keep a good set of trails going for as long as you can, wildlife kind of just gets used to it. You know what I mean? You're really not hurting anything. At the end of the day, you're just moving dirt around.
Yeah.
Like you're not even moving it that far realistically.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think where officials get upset is when they somebody goes and lights a fire or
Yeah.
something like that, right? To get a little out of control, garbage starts getting left around, and
yeah,
then somebody's walking their dog, just like you said, right? And
that one or injury.
yeah,
injury's
Like
a big
what
one.
happened at Metalily there.
Yeah.
They somebody built those, the trails
Yeah.
down the hill.
Yeah,
Somebody
they were
got
big.
hurt, and then the ambulance had a hard time getting anybody in there and getting the
man.
person
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And then after that happened, the owner of the property basically, contacted the police, and they put a patrol.
Yeah.
So you couldn't go on the property anymore. Yeah, it was.
No, that makes sense. It's like it's rough, man, but realistically, like that was one of those things where I look back at like going to ride the Kitchener Step Up. That whole summer that I knew that jump was there, I just went there every day with like nobody. Like I would literally just go there on my own. I'm like, I had no cares in the world. Half the time I'd just sit there and like smoke a joint and fucking hang out, and then like, ride for a bit, maybe try and dig some stuff. And like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, holy fuck, dude. Looking back at it, like I am so stupid. It could have been days until somebody else showed up. You know what I mean? Like so long.
Yeah.
And it's far enough in where like my cell phone didn't get fucking reception, and I never had my cell phone in my pocket when I was riding there because I didn't want to break it. Like I always had it in my backpack up at the top of the hill.
Up at the top of the hill. Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm like, holy shit, man. I'm so fucking lucky.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
what do you do?
No, I try
right?
not to ride by myself in my backyard. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned the pump track I have through
Yeah.
the middle. Like that's kind of I'm all by myself. I don't want to dummy myself and be sitting here.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Looking
It
for
could
help.
take a while.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it could really fucking take a while. And even just getting, like, somebody out of that area, it's not as bad as, like, let's say the step up or the jumps that you were talking about earlier. But holy fuck, dude. It would be such a pain in the ass to get you out of there if you
Yeah.
got hurt.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to show you guys this. This is the Christie Dam that I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah,
so
that's
you can
right.
take
I
a look
remember
at
this
that.
clip.
And that's, like, forever ago. But it's such a fun spot. It
Yeah,
goes,
definitely
like...
never been there. I feel like I've seen clips from there for sure, though.
Oh, definitely. It's such a popular
It's
spot.
like a little quarter pipe in the middle of
Yeah,
nowhere.
essentially. It's so much fun though. Like you literally just fucking ride that like
looks great.
all day. We went there with my girlfriend and Ben and his girlfriend and like a whole crew that one day and rode that for like a couple hours. It's just one of those things that like you can just jib around up here, have some fun, or you can just fucking go full speed for the full thing and like try and get to the top. That's like the hardest thing ever. And if you don't have brakes, you're gonna fucking eat it. Like my buddy, he's brakeless and he tried to like get to the third line, which is probably like 15, 16 feet up. And like he got up there, but then it's like, what I was doing is I would go up and then just start doing a nose manual like whip thing to kind of keep my like balance into the transition still. Well, he got up there and lost all of his speed, and then he tried to turn and ended up fucking sliding down the like grossest fucking road like concrete the whole way down, like ripped his fucking pants out. He's got blood all over his
Road
ass.
rash.
Like it's just one of those things like, fuck, dude, you got to be careful. Like, it'll fuck you up. And then if you do it perfectly, you're going like Mach 10 at the fucking smallest little kicker like quarter pipe thing ever. Like, the one time I just hit it and like I had my brakes fully locked and still going so fast. I ended up having to bail off the bike like off the quarter because I just flew into a bush. Like, it's so crazy. Such a good spot though. Like honestly, you could just take a tent there and just like bring a little barbecue tent, live there for a couple days.
Like a mini ramp.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. All right, so we were talking a little bit about trails being torn down and whatnot. So let's jump into a little bit more of that. So we mentioned the cities, people get hurt, whatever. Let's talk about when trails just die from lack of work or lack of maintenance. And before we jump into that, I'm going to throw the number on screen. If you guys want to call in, feel free. I also have it in my Instagram. You just hit the contact button and hit call. So I'm going to throw that up on screen right now. But yeah, so let's talk about the jumps just being not maintained and what will happen over the years.
I think there's still some in town over, on Highbury there, right by my old high school, Montcalm Secondary School. I'm pretty sure that was just private property that, we rode there for years.
Yeah.
And everything was fine. And then, one day, I guess the person that owned the property decided it wasn't fine anymore. And I think those jumps are still there. If you were to go roll through the weeds. Yeah, on Kalele. Yeah, I think they're still there. And they were epic. That was a good spot. We had people coming from out of town. Again, John was the guy that, pioneered that and built that all up. And then it just kind of faded away. A lot of work, gone. But that's private property as opposed to like being city property. You know what I mean? So that's a bit different. Where Vauxhall Park, which was way back in the day, that was city property. So that now is a frisbee golf course, right? They tore that down.
Yeah.
Now it's frisbee golf.
There you go.
But we also had some.
The fuck is frisbee golf?
That's
I'm like so lost
That's
right
where you
now.
throw it at the pole. That's got
I'm
all
not
the
gonna shit
chains
on
on
it.
it.
It's actually kind of fun.
Okay.
I do own some frisbee golf.
Do you?
discs.
Oh,
Oh, shame! Don't
that's
shame me.
awesome. We can't be friends. No,
I mean, I would choose the jumps over the frisbee golf. But hey, if they're gonna have the golf course there, I'll go down and throw a few.
No, and then
that's funny.
the other place that we built that was there for about 2 years, I would say 3 years, was behind the Waltzing Weasel on Highbury. That was
Oh yeah, that's your
down behind that. Yeah, I started those. It was just kind of like a gully that went into a big kicker, and it turned into an 8-pack before somebody decided that they were going to call on us. And I still remember pushing my bike in that day going, I'm going to go ride, and tractor trails and flat, the whole thing. It was a drag.
Yeah, that's the worst, dude. I'm like, I never got to see, I haven't even been to the step up to see what it looked like afterwards. But like, I found out about it when I lived it all in and just, checking Facebook. And then all of a sudden there's this huge message from Brad, like just on his wall talking about the step up and what it's done for him over the years and what ended up happening with it and how it got torn down. Like one of those things, dude, that it was on like protected land. Like, they weren't even supposed to fucking bring like something to plow them down in there. Like that's technically illegal. They weren't allowed to do that, but they still did. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where if you just take a shovel and fucking would have pushed everything back in, it would have been fine. But, I have friends that believe that you could still go there and dig the step up out of there because it was built into the fucking hill.
Yeah, you'd hit the hard pack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but it's so much work for something that like they definitely are patrolling it. Maybe not every month, maybe not every year. It's one of those things that they know that people built there before, and they know that if like, people might build there in the future.
Yeah.
It's just one of those spots where now it's done. Yeah. Now it's gone. That's like another thing I'm having an issue with is I want to have a DIY jam this year. And where the fuck do you do that? You know what I mean? Like I've been looking all over town to just try and find somewhere that might have like, a concrete pad just in the middle of nowhere that nobody's going to use, where you can just build a bunch of fucking shitty wood stuff, maybe, Quickcrete and whatnot. But yeah, like it's impossible.
That conflict of like you can build that stuff and have fun with it and probably get away with it for quite a while until people find out about it.
Yeah.
And then the more people that come and ride the spot, then it gets heated out, and that's unfortunate because obviously you love to ride with your buddies, but like like you were saying, you've got this, was it a Rogers or something?
Yeah, like that Rogers building.
It's this odd spot where all of a sudden you get traffic, and it's just they start to investigate what's going on. Next thing you know, someone doesn't like what you're doing, and
it was a really good location where it was, and like a lot of people did some really good like upkeep there. Like we had a garbage bag there at all times where like Brad would come by once every month or so and grab all the garbage from the garbage bags and take it back to his house and throw it out there. But yeah, it's just one of those things where like it doesn't matter how much you fucking upkeep it. If it's on somebody else's property, it's gonna get torn down at some point.
Yeah, very rarely do you end up with situations where you have the city that works with you.
Yeah.
But there has been those blessed spots where the cities work with, they come in and see that there's somebody who's put 10 years of hard work, and they realize that avenue is healthy for people, and healthy for young people to get into doing something like that instead of drugs and alcohol, which is a common problem. So, it's sad to see that stuff does get destroyed, and you understand why as an adult, but
yeah, you don't see it when you're younger, but now that I'm old, I have the same thoughts, on my backyard, Even I have the jumps and I'm going to jump them, but I still like in the back of my head, I worry, you know, I'm gonna come home one day and some kid's dummied in my backyard because he tried to ride my jumps. You know.
Yeah, when you're not there.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, exactly.
Or even like you were saying earlier, just
Yeah.
you know, you love to have the friends through, but the friends
Yeah.
of the friends, you just never know.
Yeah.
You know who's gonna, and you think in the BMX world, most people understand the risk involved. I
Yeah.
know last week you even had the topic about what at the Triple Jam.
Yeah.
You know, the young kid who crashed, and I think
Yeah,
in the
that
BMX
was
world,
good.
everybody understands like. When you accept the risks of what you're about to do, you can't tell someone don't do that. That's the worst thing to do. You know, you're trying to encourage the growth in the sport, but at the same time, you know what I mean. You're obviously worried about the risk of someone hurting themselves.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I think in that situation, the kid wanted to take the risk, and I think
Yeah.
that. You know, they made the right decision to let him go, and I think anyone who wanted to stop that, you know, really doesn't understand BMX.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I think
know,
that's a
it's
good
unfortunate
point.
that it happens. Nobody wants to see it,
Yeah.
but
Did you see that at all?
I did see that clip. For
Okay,
sure. Yeah,
so-
it was quite controversy on Instagram there.
Yeah, so anybody that wasn't there for last week's episode, I highly recommend going and checking that out. It's in with like the first 10 minutes of the show. But I'll do a little bit of a background on that for people that don't know. So let's see here. The Toyota Triple Challenge went down last week. And, you know, if you guys have ever seen it, obviously you have. It's a fucking huge roll in with two massive jumps, like fucking huge. These lips they've got to be at least 10 to 12 feet tall. The gap is huge. I don't know if I'm just exaggerating, but it's ridiculous. Like these are huge trick jumps. Anyways, Toyota Triple Challenge has always been an open event. Anybody can go. Anybody can try it. Anybody can do it. You just have to sign a waiver. That's the only rule.
Yeah.
So, you know, young kid goes. I don't know if I got his age on there, but he's a young kid.
13 or 14, I feel like.
His parents run his Instagram. That's how young he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
that's how fucking young he is. Anyways, you know, he wanted to go and try this, and I watched the live stream that his mom had on their Instagram, and you know, he sat up at the top, like thinking about it for probably like 15 minutes.
Well, of course,
Yeah.
right? I remember doing
We've
that
all
too,
been there.
right? Yeah.
So then he goes to like try it, and you know, with his weight, for one thing, these jumps are built so that you will clear
Yeah.
them
I,
if you're a certain weight, typically. Like, you know, with your momentum and the way that like weight carries, it's set up so that you should be able to clear it just by dropping in. You shouldn't have to pedal at the bottom.
Yeah.
Anyways, kid kind of like froze up, didn't pump the transition, and just kind of went right into it,
Yeah.
nosedived into the actual like transition, like just nose casing it,
It was
going over
full
the
on
fucking
scorpion
bars.
down the
Yeah,
Dude.
down the back of the.
Full on fucking
thank
wrecked.
God for youth, he kind of did the noodle for.
Yeah, dude, he got fucking
it
wrecked.
was
like
worst case
anybody,
scenario.
That was a good hit.
anybody that was like older, you know what I mean? He got out of that really well, and I think it's because he is so young.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
kids
really,
just
oh,
fucking
yeah.
bounce. Whereas like
Yeah.
somebody that's my age, dude, I'd be in a fucking coma right now. Like literally,
I would not have got up from that one.
Yeah, it like you would get seriously fucked up. But anyways, his parents, since they run his Instagram, they were really pissed that he was starting to get all this BMX fame out of nowhere because of this crash.
Okay.
And that was one of the things where, you know, I went on a big tangent talking about how Began has become one of the biggest BMX riders in the world from the El Toro crash. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different crashes like that that really start your BMX career, and to look at it at more of like a positive note rather than a negative, you know, like nobody is like making fun of your kid for fucking eating shit.
No.
Definitely
We're
not
all,
making
the
fun
only
of it.
reason we're sharing it is
Yeah.
because it's so fucking
Yeah.
wild. Like it's
Honestly,
ridiculous.
though, I think to interject a little, I think that on the outsider, from somebody who's not involved in BMX,
Yeah, that probably looks.
it's a spectator thing. Like everyone likes. I hate to say it, people who aren't into the BMX scene like to watch crashes. And I mean, typically guys who are into BMX don't want to watch the crashes. You don't want those visuals in your head. But like, yeah, people who aren't typically going to see a BMX vid check out a crash.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's negative at all. I think it's a good way that it got spread. At least his name got spread.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Everybody
he-
knows who he is now.
That's right. right?
Like I still know
Any
his
attention,
fucking.
negative or positives,
Yeah.
still going to sell.
Yeah.
And it sucks that like, because his parents were really going hard on that, and like they were pretty pissed, and it did stir up like quite the controversy in like BMX media, at least for the day. But like, fuck, dude. Like I don't know. My thing is like, yeah, your kid fucking ate shit. I'm sorry. That sucks. But it's part of the sport. He tried it, and he's got bigger balls than fucking half the people that I know that would never even attempt to roll in on the rolling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm sure he learned a lot more from that crash
Yeah.
than he would have if he had just got it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm like, what's he going to do if he gets it? Is he going to hit the second jump? Like, how is he going to carry his speed through that? You got to think about all the variables, right? Like, you know, it is fucking pretty crazy
It's part
that
of
he...
BMX. We
Yeah.
all crash.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe that he got away with, like... I don't even think he got knocked out.
Nothing.
Yeah,
no.
well,
Yeah.
you're young.
I
you
think
can
he was
balance,
okay.
right?
Yeah, he was totally. And that's you know
Jesus.
that's why it's okay. You know what I mean? If he was injured, would have been any other controversy around it? Maybe.
Yeah.
But you know, that's just it, right? If you're gonna get on the bike, then that's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly, right? But yeah, that's basically just a little bit of an update on that. So let's see here. So, you know, the one thing that we were talking about earlier is how you got into building your jumps. And let's talk about how you got into building jumps. So,
Well, I think a pretty well-known trail saying is, you know, no dig, no ride thing. So at a young age, showing up at Milton Trails, you know, if you want to participate and you're going to jump a jump and you're thrashing the landing, especially when you're learning, you know, it was expected you'd pick up a shovel and start to, you know, repair what you had damaged. And that, of course, you know, maybe you couldn't jump the big guy's line. So, you know, you go a little further into the bush and you start to dig your own line. And I think that's kind of how it starts for any kid. You can't quite make the big line. So you start somewhere making the smaller line and make your own stuff. And then I think that really what gives you the appreciation of how much work goes into it.
oh, of course, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. I can totally remember. You know, we used to find in the bushes where people would dump stuff all the time, right? Like you'd find a fridge or you'd find a couch or something, right? And that typically turned it into the landing.
Yeah.
Because it was less work to bury the fridge and you know, than to make it all out of dirt, right? But I specifically remember not being able to make the big jumps at the reservoir behind Mornington Street, and dragging a couch out and burying it and making my own jump, and then, you know, eventually you make it over to the big line and start riding with the guys that you know probably got you started to begin with, right?
Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. One of the things that I've noticed in, like, you know, different trail riding videos and just trail riding in general is that there's like a specific way that people will always build jumps. And I find that it's like, it sounds weird, but there's like 5 different sets of, like, you know, I guess like dig patterns. You know what I mean? So like, do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't. I'm doing it
okay.
all. Right. You know this?
Okay.
I'm
So
totally interested.
He's getting into deep technique
when you're
here.
like, you know, when you're building a landing, often you'll see that people will take like bricks or they'll take cinder blocks and they'll
Logs,
build
anything.
anything
Amateurs,
just to
that
like
sounds
kind of
amateur.
build the back, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the people do that, and then you often see like what I would declare like the most beautiful jumps where they're perfectly carved, they're perfect dirt, even the transitions on the side, like it's literally the perfect angle, and like just everything is boxy and square. They look crazy. And then obviously you get the jumps that are more like, you know, mound of dirt that you've made into something. But I don't know, like, do you think that that plays into the way that people ride at all? Because, like, dude, the fucking ones with the concrete landing on, like, the other side where, like, if you nose case that, you're going to fucking die, dude.
Yeah. I think it's always usually around just what's at hand.
Yeah, I guess that's
probably
fair.
what drives it is you know, can I jump this afternoon kind of deal, you know, so you build it all up and go. And erosion too, I know, is something I deal with a lot in my backyard, depending on the type of dirt you have, right? Like the style. I have a lot of sand, so rain is terrible. It causes me a lot of work, but I don't think there's anything I can do about it, right? So I just accept it and know that I have to do work every time it rains. But I've thought about using bricks to build up the back of the landing so it stops eroding, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was just wondering if that, like, comes into play with anything, you know? Like, have you guys ever done that before or never really done it?
Personally, like, I used, like Ryan says, when you're younger, obviously the workload, especially it's hard to convince a bunch of 14-year-olds to pick up a shovel and dig, right? Yeah. So usually your friends peter off after the first day of trying to build a jump, right? And like the diehards, you know, you're going to be out there for months before you actually have something real good to ride. But I learned younger that I like to just use dirt because I used to use logs and all kinds of other stuff, and then it just eventually always either rots out or it shows its ugly head later, and you're constantly repairing it.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, if you can make it all out of clay, it almost becomes like a cement object at some point. But that, again, like Ryan says, comes back to the dirt, right? Like if you, in your situation, working with the sand, it's much harder to keep those shapes.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, if you're out in like Pennsylvania where they've got that perfect clay, it's, you know, a little bit easier to cut it out. But yeah, I think.
Yeah. It's usually what led towards burying stuff was just, you know, we want to ride now.
That's fair. Yeah.
You know, and then like Ian says, usually later you end up filling it in anyway because it rotted through or it started poking through the top of the landing.
Jesus, that'd be hilarious though.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can like open the fucking fridge. Like, yeah, we got some beer in here, man. We'll just have to pack the dirt back.
Yeah.
I don't know why you just said that. I just had like the Family Guy raccoon jumping on his face image, but
Oh, that'd be so funny. So we were, you know, you mentioned Pennsylvania and the jumps that they have down there. I don't know why I'm blanking on this right now. There's Posh Trails, and then there's Caddy. Right, there we go. I knew it started with a C. I'm not that, you know, not out of the trails loop, but those jumps look fucking ridiculous. They're huge. And like that is pure, like that's such a great example of how much dedication trail riders have and how long it's been around. Those jumps have been
that's like the pinnacle.
Wild.
That's the the high point of any trail spot I've ever seen. Right?
That's the thing.
Either that or I would say Gross Road in New Zealand is
of course
the
there's
most
that
competitive spot that's been around for over a decade or so, and it's just perfectly formed, like you say. I think there's something to, I mean, at a level of pride when you build something too, like having the washing machine stick out of the back of the ramp just doesn't look the same as having that beautiful, you know, formed, complete piece of artwork. And then I think that plays into riding styles in a sense as well. Like, you know, nothing's nicer than that perfect flow and crispiness of someone popping like just simple tables or whatever their tricks are at the trails can play. I think that personality plays into both, that perfectionism of just making the perfect jump to make that perfect picture of you know, doing, or the perfect clip of you doing it. Just, you know, whereas in like the street riders a little bit more comfortable with the janky,
exactly,
you know, washing machine thing too. It's just different styles, I guess.
For sure. So that's actually a really good transition into what I was going to say next, was just like, you know, you look at trails riding, you look at street riding, you look at park riding and flatland riding. And, you know, there's definitely aspects of it that have been taken into each other. But trails is something that is so like on its own. Like you can really tell if a rider is like a good trails rider, if they like riding trails, just by the way they ride anything else. You know what I mean? When you ride trails, you can like the simplest things. You know what I mean? A T-bog over a jump is the best feeling in the world. And it's just one of those things that like it doesn't require much. You really just need to show off like what you can do and how clean it looks. Like, you know, you don't really see...
That's the word right there. Is that clean is in so much of the dirt world, where you want a clean-looking jump and a clean-looking, you know, tabletop or clean-looking click turn down and just that clean-looking flow. And it's just all about, that perfection.
All about, being, like, perfect. You know what I mean? Like, you got to think about, like, all the people that have filmed, like, full-length trail videos and, like, people like, you know, Mike Aiken and Brian Yeagle and all these people that rode for Anthem 2. A lot of their sections had trail riding in it, and the trail riding, like, you know, as a filmer, I think about like how many fucking times they had to run through that just to get the perfect thing. Because they'll pull it, but if it's not the perfect landing, the perfect pop, the perfect, like, you know, lock into a certain trick or whatever, it's not going to get accepted. Whereas, you know, when you get into park riding and stuff, they pretty much just take it. Like, I've seen so many clips of somebody trying to do a triple whip and they fucking put their foot like on the back of their peg or something when they land. No hate. I love fucking park riding, man. I love to see like people pushing the boundaries of BMX, but I think that a lot of people need to start stepping back and looking at the actual, like, you know, whole thing. Like,
I think the major difference in those two things is competition, though, right? Like, the trail rider's not going for competition. It's a personal thing, and I think that's why the perfection's there. Whereas in, you know, you get the park mindset and it's a spin it to win it. It's like they just, especially nowadays, like I'll just add an extra bar spin in or an extra 180 or 360 or extra tail whip to try and one up the last guy.
Oh, exactly.
So that it becomes less about that personal perfection and more about like the spectator in a sense.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I think that like trails are just such a great thing to really show your personality, whereas park riding you can't. Like, you know, when you think about all the best trail riders in the world, you can really tell them apart by like a certain trick. When I think about Mike Aiken, I think about 360 can tire grab. You know what I mean? That was his fucking trick, and he had that on lock, and it looked so crazy and so clean. Do you know what I'm saying, Ian? Do you know what trick I'm talking about?
I do. I guess when I think of Aiken, I just always think about like just that snaked style that a lot of trail riders really enjoy.
Smooth.
That feeling of being able to, you know, it's almost the same as the pump like this. It's like I explained to the kids that, you know, I work with, you know, not only are you pumping up and down to go through the rollers, but there's an S side to side effect to it. And when you start getting into big jumps and you get that kind of hip, you know, a nice hip section of jumps, you know, in a row, it feels super cool to kind of, you know, it becomes more about the feeling, I think, in the body, like just being in the air and having that off-axis feeling and flow feels
like
so
you say,
amazing.
You could do, you know, you could just do simple stuff through the run, and it's you know, to me, it's as awesome as you know, quad whip, you know, all that stuff in the park, right?
Basically, what I was going on about that though is that like I always think about trail riders as like, you know, they have their own personality when it comes to riding, whereas like park riding, if you fucking put everybody in the same outfit,
it's very robotic. Is that where you're going with it?
Yeah, park riding is very robotic. Everybody
Video
looks
game.
the same. Like, you know, a lot of the tricks, if you just gave them all one bike color, you're like, okay, do this trick, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart. Like,
yeah, I
you know what I
agree with
mean?
that to some degree for sure.
Yeah,
to some degree. There is definitely people like, you know, Dennis Anderson and Boyd Hilder. Those two fucking ride the exact same, but I think that Boyd takes like, you know, he definitely has a lot of respect for Dennis Anderson. I don't know if you guys know who Boyd Hilder is.
Oh yeah, of course.
Unreal. He's definitely one of the top in the game right now.
Awesome.
Did you see his recent truck across
dude.
the top with that like 30-foot gap hop in?
Oh
It was
my
amazing.
God.
I loved it. It was like last night I was watching that.
That's the thing though, is that like those dudes, you can tell they've rode trails or that they have a good respect for trails. Whereas you look at somebody like Logan Martin or Daniel Sandoval and you see, you know, dude doing the fucking double flare whip. Like, it's one of those things where I don't know what it would look like when he went to a set of trails. But those are often the guys that you see at X Games doing the dirt jumps or like, you know, triple challenge where it's
weird
quad
though, right?
whips and whatnot.
X Games and stuff is all like, it's like money, right? So you gotta spin it to win it. You know, and you got sponsors and all that. Where when you're in the trails and you're just hanging out with your friends, it's not about that, right?
Exactly.
It's about the feeling. So it's totally different, right?
Zero competition. There's no money.
Yeah, there's nothing.
There's no
there,
spectators watching you other than other riders, right? And then it's more about, you know, riders appreciating riders' skill.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know, we all as riders know that, you know, sometimes the most skillful things don't always come off as the biggest tricks. Like a backflip, for example, is probably one of the easier tricks of all the tricks I can think of, but it is the first trick a kid asks you to do, right? Can you
it looks
flip?
gnarly, right?
It looks super, you know, hardcore.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I find flips is like, you know, I've done them.
Yep.
I know that you've done them.
Yeah, I got a good bail for you, actually. I'll give you
you got to send me that. I'll if you send it to me by the end of the night, I'll put it in for tomorrow.
Fair enough. I'll send it to you.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where like flips, they're fucking easier than a 360.
100%.
The only thing that you need to have is a good set of these.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you gotta have balls to do a flip because you're going upside down.
Full commit.
Yeah, full commit. You gotta fucking hang on. But yeah, I don't know. To me, like I spent fucking months learning how to do a fly out 360 when I first got into BMX. You know, went to a fucking park with
Way
a foam
harder
pit.
trick.
Yeah, that's the thing. Went to a foam pit the one day, learned a backflip the first day.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
and I don't even
People
do
don't
them.
understand that, right? From the outside.
Yeah.
Right?
Spectators,
If they've never
100%.
tried it, they don't get that.
That's
right?
the thing. I don't even do them. I've
you-
done them like maybe 10 times over a resi, and I just don't have a care to do it. I'm like, it's so easy.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, you know, one of my buddies, he has the perfect explanation behind like a backflip and a double peg on a street rail is that a double peg on a street rail is just, you know, the street version of a backflip. Because like it really is. If you can, you know, get the balls to fucking do a bunny hop onto a rail, that's the street backflip.
You're
You know, it's
gonna
not
slide
that.
down.
Yeah,
You'll be all right. Right?
there's a little bit more going on when you get into the longer rails, but I'm talking, you know, 7-set rail, first rail, first fly out flip. It's
I'd
a
rather
lot of the
flip
same
than do
thing.
that.
Yeah, fair.
Against the upright, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it all depends, right? Like for me, my biggest thing with flips is that like I'm not fucking doing one unless I can go 10 feet up and clear the box jump because I don't ever want to hit the back of my head on the like lip.
Do a lip.
You know, that's like
Oh, yeah.
you always see kids where they're like they go in really slow and they fucking pull as hard as they can. They hit the back of their head on the ramp. I'm not about that. If I'm gonna do a flip, I have to go as fast as I fucking can. The first flip that I ever landed cleared the entire joyride resi. Like right into transition, dropped in on the big side, like literally 10 feet up, like slowest flip ever.
Yeah.
I fucking hate flips, man. I'll only do it there. I do want to learn front flips though, and like flares. Oh, that'd be so cool to flare, but yeah, and flares are pretty safe. I just suck at them. It's one of those things where like I can't get the right pull. Like whenever I do it, I always land like if I was landing into like the perfect vert wall, I'd be fine. But I'm not. I'm landing in the bottom of the transition. I'll go over the fucking bars, you know?
Oh, I'm usually the other way.
You always like under rotate?
Well, no, I end up in a little bit of a mani out of them.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there you go.
Unintentional.
Yeah, I always like kind of fucking go right to the teeth if I was going to end up trying it. I've never tried one other than in a foam pit because I'm like, I don't have it. I do not have the right rotation. I don't have it.
It's not something I have. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think most kids today have them like 2 years into riding.
No, it's a different world.
It's one of those
nowadays,
things where like
Can't ride
kids,
instead of trails though.
That's the thing. Kids fucking go out and they learn how to do a bar spin, a tail whip, and all these tricks within the first year of riding. Second year of riding, they're doing flare bars. But it's like you take them to your jumps or the jumps that you build at, and dude, they're not going to be able to get through that, you know?
Yeah.
That's always something that I like really take into account whenever I go to joyride because I always feel so shitty afterwards. I'm like, motherfucker, I did a T-bog over a jump and this dude did a triple whip. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. But it's one of those things where like, if you take that fucking kid to any other park in Ontario, he's not going to be able to do shit, dude.
I guess I suffered from that too, though, right? Just riding our own parks in town over and over and over, right? And then you go somewhere else, you can't do half the shit because it's a different park. You know what I mean?
I think on that note, something I really think the younger generation really needs to absorb is ride everything, man. Like, don't be a particular rider. I grew up with everything. I street road, I rode dirt, I rode a little bit of flatland, you ride the parks. I feel like everything has something for you to learn.
Oh, exactly.
You're always going to have your favorite.
Yeah, I think that it's like that's something that I've always stressed on this podcast. Even having like Gabe Truax, who you guys know is like, you know, he's from Inflow.
Yeah.
He is such a good all-around rider. It's one of those things where like to me, riding everything is why I love BMX. It's not because I ride at a skate park. You know what I mean? I fucking love to ride skate parks certain days of the week. Love to ride dirt jumps the next day. Want to ride street the next day. Yeah. Maybe I'll just go fuck around outside on my flat rail. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that like the more that you limit yourself, the more that you tell yourself, oh, I'm a street rider. I need to dress like this. I need to do this. I need to, you know, ride this. I'm not going to ride park. I'm not going to try at dirt jumps. You limit yourself. You really only set yourself up for failure, in my eyes at least, because I can't take you anywhere. Like, I want to be able to literally hop in the car with somebody and be like, let's go and ride this full pipe, or let's go and ride these set of jumps. You know, that's why I love your place too, is because your jumps are like a lot smaller.
Yep. And
like people can really like, they're fucking hard. Don't get me wrong. They're difficult.
Yeah.
But it's really easy to convince somebody to try and hit that first jump.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I never wanted it to be intimidating for somebody that maybe was, you know, not brand new, but you know, would look at it as there's a lot of street riders in London. You know, a lot of park rats all the time riding, and that's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? I love riding park, but
everybody's got what they like to ride.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And I always wanted to maintain something. That's what the pump track in the middle is for. Is I have a lot of people with a lot of friends with kids, and they, you know, of course they see the bike stuff and they want to come try it, so they can roll through the pump track in the middle. But you know, I never wanted huge 20-foot gaps. I still get the itch sometimes and think to myself, where could I go in town to build a 20-foot gap? You know what I mean? But in my backyard, I want to keep it to, you know, something that I can just flow through all the time, anytime, and you know, have 5 friends show up that have never, you know, that aren't into it hardcore, but can still try to make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
try
exactly.
and progress their skill.
And at the same time, I mean, even guys like us have been riding 30+ years.
Yeah.
I still can
yeah.
through there
Oh.
and throw some tricks down and have a good time. Like, it's not like they're tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're like they're a decent set of jumps. You know what I mean? I really like them. Those are seriously probably my favorite jumps that I've ever rode.
Oh, it's amazing.
When it comes to dirt jumps, because of just like one, the atmosphere when you go back there.
Yeah.
It's always good times. I've never been there and had a
100%.
bad time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know I've only been twice, but still,
yeah.
like I can guarantee I'll come there another 100 fucking times and it'll be awesome. It'll never have a bad time
It
there.
never gets old. I'll
It
tell
never
you
gets
that.
old.
Yeah.
You know, you can play your music kind of as loud as you want, pretty much. Your
Yeah.
neighbors don't really give a fuck, which is nice. You don't have to worry about, you know, the spot getting found out about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a bunch of those things. But then also the jumps. The jumps are so perfect. Like the way that you've built everything is awesome. I really enjoy it.
Awesome.
And yeah, you know, for somebody that like my buddy Nick, he always came with me.
Yeah.
And he's not really a jumper at all.
Yeah.
He's really not.
He was sending it.
Yeah,
though.
he was sending it.
was
He
sending
fucking
it.
crank flipped the second one. He
Yeah,
threed
yeah.
a bunch of them. Like
Yeah.
Dope.
he was having a good time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's one of those things where like you really need to push people out of their like normal atmosphere and show them other stuff, because unless they like bitch out and they don't try it, they're never going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have to fucking try it.
I think a lot of
So-
times, you know, the intimidation of trails, because they, you know, especially when you get a gap,
That's the
holds
thing.
a lot of guys
That's
back.
always the thing that I always hear is like,
There's a
oh,
gap.
if it was a tabletop, I'd
Right.
try it. Like, yeah, but
Yeah.
that's not trails. To me, trails is full commitment. You fucking send that
You
shit
send it, yeah.
and you fucking try your hardest, because like you're going to half-ass this. You really want to do that? You put so much work into the actual trails. Let's not half-ass this and let's fucking go full on this. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think if they could get a lot of guys, if they could get past, like say Street Rider for
Yeah.
example, who has not spent much time jumping, if they could get past that initial intimidation and actually got the taste of flowing trails,
Yeah.
they would, you know, they would understand it more. And I personally, I've seen a couple riders who came from street who had zero interest in trails to begin with, that I got them to come out a little bit more, and now it not only it influenced and changed their riding, but like it's one of their favorite styles of riding now is to ride
Hell yeah.
trails.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's something I feel like there's a longevity to it as well. Like I loved street in my teenage years, in my 20s, but you know, at my age now, I'm, you know, 40 here in a couple months. It changes the game. You can't land flat at my age, right? So everything you want to, you know, land into trannies. So it definitely, the longevity of being able to flow trails is kind of, you know, riding bikes as long as I can is kind of an issue for me.
Yeah.
I have to,
Oh, of
you know what I
course.
mean? Like I don't want to give it up.
So that's actually the perfect transition for a topic that I have on here. Something that I love about trails is that no matter the age, you can pretty much always ride them with smooth landings, easy flowing lines. It makes it, you know, easy for somebody that's healing from a bad crash, or or just somebody who's been riding for years, you know. You know, when it comes to building, it's a lot different. It's a lot of stress on your body. It's a lot that's like happening, but the actual act of like riding trails, it's pretty easy for your body. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, as long as you don't go down, it's good.
yeah.
If you got if you've, you know, worked on your skills and you can flow through a section well, you know what I mean? It's pretty
It like really strengthens your legs
very
and
low
arms
impact
too, I would say. Yeah.
You know,
It's very low impact. It really strengthens your arms and your legs because of all the pumping that you're doing. You
Yes.
know what I mean? You wouldn't think that it's that much stress on your body, but one of the things that I love about BMX is that it's literally a full body like activity, or like it's a full body workout, because no matter what, you're fucking, you got to move your arms, you got to move your legs, you're pedaling, you're pumping, just everything that you're doing, you're
100%.
using your
Take a
whole
couple
body.
months off and go for a rip around a pump track.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
Your
dude.
legs feel like rubber.
I'm waiting for spring, and
Exactly.
every spring, right, for the last 10 years has been, you know, a month of pain because I'm,
Oh,
I'm
dude, I
riding
believe
and
it.
digging. And,
We just went to,
you know, and yeah, we just
All
went to
in,
Zurich,
right?
and
Both of us
I'm
were
still
rubber-legged.
sore, right? But
Okay, so talking about you know, just not riding for a while, how long did you guys go before you went out to All In? How long?
It was about 3 weeks.
we were
3
at
weeks?
Joyride, you know, like a month before that or something.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
So-
but it's winter, right? Like a, you know, once a month kind of trip is.
Yeah.
That would be ideal. You know what I mean? If I could do twice a month, you know, that would be amazing.
I'd love
too.
to get out more often, but
Yeah.
it's,
So all of my buddies, they get out every weekend at least once. Like most of the
Wow.
time, they get out twice
I
a
remember
weekend.
that, yeah.
Here's
yeah,
the
like I used
thing.
to do that for sure.
Here's the thing. Me, I went 2.5 months
Oh my
without
God.
riding at all.
Oh my God.
Like literally,
Sadness.
that's the thing. I was doing my podcast. I needed to fucking put work towards this.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
have time.
Adulting happens.
I
Yeah.
literally do not have time to go and ride. I want to.
yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah.
I went out riding at Inflow about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now. Holy shit, dude. My fucking whole body hurt for like a week. And that's one of those things. I went out that Wednesday as well. So I went out the Sunday. That by Wednesday, my whole body was like, holy shit, dude. Like, I can tell that I haven't rode. Went out and rode, felt a lot better the next day. It's one of those things that I'm like, holy shit, dude. I have to get out more. Because, like,
Yeah.
in the normal 9 months that we have, spring, summer, fall here in Canada, I am riding my bike to work every single day, which is a 14-kilometer ride there. So I ride a road bike there
Good for
and
you.
back. So 30K a day typically.
That's
I'll
awesome.
get out on my BMX bike, try and ride. I don't drive, so I have to ride 5 kilometers to the skate park, ride back after riding. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I really try and ride like more than anything. That's one of my things too. I'm like, I only have to take the bus in the winter. Like I just ride my bike the rest of the time. It's not bad. I don't mind it.
Yep.
I think it's important to like also not just ride BMX, but ride like, I think it does a lot for your actual like skills if you ride a road bike or if you ride any of that stuff because
yeah.
it teaches you endurance. It teaches you how to like pace yourself, but it also teaches you how to like go fucking hard and be able to keep like, I don't know, keep up, you know?
Yeah.
I find just even riding different bikes in
Oh,
a
yeah.
sense is, with even in
Well, they're
different-
bigger too, right?
yeah,
like you
different
have
bikes
to
in
be able
general
to,
teaches you different skills.
Yeah.
Just being on two wheels is good.
hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
2 wheels for life. Yeah, I'm gonna go and rock a piss really quick. If you guys just want to talk amongst yourself, talk about trails, talk about whatever, man, I'll be right back.
Is there anybody on? I see we have 4 people. It says they're watching.
Oh yeah, there'll probably there'll be a lot more when like the whole thing is posted. Like last week, I think we ended up getting close to 150 views.
Oh, wow.
By now at least. But during the live stream, we had more than anybody. But I think it's all like time of day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We did it at like 8 o'clock at night, so everybody was down to watch, and we had so many people call in. We had like 9 people call in. It's like holy shit.
Interesting discussion of aliens.
Yeah, dude, that was funny. Those fucking chicks called in. Oh man.
Really?
Yeah, these fucking
missed
girls
that.
called in. They like I think they're like Caleb's friends, so like his fiance, obviously they were hanging out. And I think that, like they just called in, and the one chick was asking about aliens, and I kept telling her that I'm a space goat because it's my video.
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
it fucking
Yeah.
tattooed on my hand. She didn't get it. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Anyways, I'll be right back. You guys just talk amongst yourself.
I'm going to chill with a rabbit here, I think.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there's rabbits in here. For those that don't know,
rabbits everywhere.
there's rabbits running around on the floor.
This guy's just kind of chilling.
We're gonna do a couple of sessions in the yard this year. If you haven't been out, you should come out, ride some dirt.
I'm looking forward to the spring here. It's
Yeah.
not too far away.
There was a couple of guys talking about some jams, so watch Instagram.
Get a few more people out.
Yep, yeah. We'll get Jordan over. We'll get him to build me some mini ramps in my backyard. A couple of quarters, maybe.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Looking forward to the X Jam at All In.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I'm glad that
It was cool to hear that
Derek
he's
and
doing
Zed,
that.
Yeah, took that on. That's shout out to those boys.
Yeah, yeah. Sucks that it's not, part of the show anymore, but hopefully it'll All In can keep it going. Check it out. What's this? Where is he? Over there?
He's on the move. I think at one point he was chewing
That's
my
amazing.
my toe a little bit.
Yeah, I think he was chewing my jeans. Hey. Epic. We got my buddy Chris here from work. Sweet jumps. Chris has been over with his son to ride bikes.
All right, I'm back.
Future Ripper.
You guys rock a fist or anything? You all good?
Oh, good.
Cool.
I'm good at the moment.
Awesome. Let's jump back into this then. Okay, so next thing that I want to talk about, top 5 trail riders of all time. And let's talk about
That's like
why.
impossible.
That's the thing. It's
That's a hard
impossible to
one.
answer it. It's so
How do
difficult.
you take it down to 5 guys? What if you miss somebody?
Yeah, 100%. No offense if I don't, I probably love you if you're a pro out there or a trail rider and you're awesome and I don't say your name. But you always go towards the flow guys, right? Like Aiken, you can't not say his name.
Yeah, I mean, there's just certain names. Chris Doyle,
Yep.
Taj Mihalic.
Yeah.
You just can't, Joe Rich. You can't think of
Chase.
Chase Hawk these days. I mean, he was younger.
Yeah, and we talk
generation of
about
rider for me.
about the trail influence when you see in riders. You know what I mean? I think of
100%.
Chase right away, right? You shred apart to
nowadays.
pieces, but at the same time, you can tell that there's that BMX that speed background of speed and big gaps and
Racing.
and flow and smooth and
Yeah, exactly.
those words to describe trails. But who else do I think about? I think about that awesome YouTube vid that like Dane Searles did.
Oh yeah. R.I.P.
Giants of Dirt. I thought
Yeah.
that was one of my
That was,
that was an epic.
That was game changing.
It was, right? And we were talking about the Toyota Challenge, and we were talking about how that's different than like flowing a set of trails, right? And when you think about those monster jumps that he built, that kind of is bringing two of those things together a little bit. You know what I mean? Because they were like big burly contest style
hell
jumps,
yeah, man.
but at the same time, they were super fast and flowy down a hill. You know what I mean? Like that was badass when that came out. So I always think of him when I think of awesome dirt jump riders that come to mind.
I could be wrong. I think I believe it was Ben Islander that just did. He did something similar with a big 60-footer.
Oh yeah,
Jesus, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he
That's
posted
so
that,
crazy.
Which was pretty. I mean,
it's
looked pretty
insane,
wild.
right?
Some big
It's
tricks over it.
insane. But and you can't Brian Foster, right? Like
Oh,
there
dude,
you go.
yeah.
like he's not busting the biggest tricks in the game, but I'll watch him all day long and just be in awe of
Godfather,
the
really.
skill and the just amazing, right? So
Oh, exactly, right?
different style there.
I mean, you want to go back to those guys? You
I
got to think
mean-
of Fuzzy Hall, right?
Fuzzy, of course, right? But we're probably
Kids
talking
these
to
days probably have no idea
do
who
they
that
know who he
is,
is?
but-
So
I saw a post the other day where he was there. People are still mentioning Fuzz, right? He was in an ad or something on Instagram. I was
didn't
like,
know
"There's
that.
Fuzz." I was like, "Holy shit, he's still around." So,
I
who
think
else,
when
right?
you
Like-
get to talking about contest lines too, they tend to be very linear compared to like.
like flowing a set of trails.
That's-
I
a
think
big
part
thing.
of trails too, you're always working around the natural land lie. So you might run into, a big rock bed you can't really work, digging into. So you end up
You
making
gotta
a
move
berm or
around it,
something,
right?
Or
Yeah, or
trees
it's a
in the
pump.
way.
Yeah.
So then you never really get that straight linear line, which gives you, which developed, I think, that the trail flow and that kind of style, right? Whereas then you get into a contest run and it's like 3 jumps or 2 jumps
Yeah.
straight in a row. It's straight line. Definitely a difference there, but
I still think though that like Red Bull's pushing that with their
yeah,
Dreamline run that they have every year.
The
Yeah.
mountain
That's a
bike
nice
joyride run. Is
That's
that
a
what
nice
you're speaking of?
combination of not even the mountain bike one, but there was a little while ago. I remember seeing Clint Reynolds, right? Another dirt jumper.
Oh,
that
yeah,
was-
Yeah,
yeah.
Clint
I know what you're
Reynolds-
talking
Clint
about.
Reynolds blasting
Clint
through-
Reynolds,
yeah,
the best.
These days, yeah. These
Fucking-
days he's definitely dirt name.
Yeah.
If
yeah.
you ride a set of trails, go buy a fucking Credence frame.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
dudes are ridiculous. Clint, he
Yeah.
literally welds his own frames. That's how DIY he is when it comes to BMX, and I
Beautiful.
fucking love that. He built his own bowl, concrete
I've seen
bowl.
that.
That's
He
amazing.
built a
It's
set of
amazing,
trails.
right? Yeah.
He lives in a fucking trailer,
Yeah.
and he welds his own bike frames. That's fucking awesome. Like
Yeah,
that
it
is
is
so
very cool.
true BMX right there.
Yeah.
He's on my list of people that I have to ask.
Oh,
I've got
yeah,
like
dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
you
have
get him on
so
there,
many
that'd be
people on there.
Yeah.
Like, geez, man, I
Yeah.
hope that I really hope that he's down to like sit
His,
down
his
and
new
talk.
trail set on his property or whatever, where he jumps the road
looks
in
amazing.
Yeah.
his driveway,
Yeah.
like that is such a sweet looking set, right?
It is
I
ridiculous.
think, my brain's just kind of thinking about you're asking the 5 riders, and then it's just like my brain's jumping from eras too, right? Like You know what I mean? Like there's just
a
like
good
the old
point.
school
It has
eras and
to.
the mid school
Yeah.
era, and
Yeah.
then there's today. So
Yeah.
you think of dirt today, you've still got guys that are present from the mid school, which would be like Sergio Leas, incredible dirt rider, right?
Yeah.
and just has that dirt flow and style.
Mind-boggling flow and
And
style.
it's current today.
Yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah. No, he's still epic rider. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's still like top
Yeah.
rider. He's
Absolutely.
still got tons of sponsors, still riding professionally, still out there getting it,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Brian Foster, he's obviously like I think he's kind of slowed down a little bit and a couple of weeks ago we got news that Chris Doyle is officially retired
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah,
Like he's still going to do stuff, but he's no longer a pro BMX rider. He's still going to get flow stuff essentially. Like he'll still get free shit, but he's just not like riding professionally anymore. Which like he's another dirt rider to talk about,
Oh, you can't.
Doyle's his fucking own game. Like
yeah.
he's nuts.
Yep. Yeah. Amazing.
Hell yeah.
Essentially, those guys are the guys that inspired
The
you know,
new
through
breed.
video
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
100%.
All of that. The
And
whole
like the
scene.
list though, like as we sit here and talk, like I just
Grows.
Chris Bennett comes to mind,
Yeah.
right? Like opposite 360s, every trick opposite, and people don't understand the difficulties of opposite, right? So you see him go through a line and he's doing everything both ways, and you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell? So Chris Bennett's another one that comes to mind. But even, we were talking about Clint Reynolds, and then there was, his crew of guys that he rides with too. Like all of them, absolutely amazing, right? That you've seen that down the hill trail around the berm and then blast line that they all do, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
I just, that's just something else, right?
I mean, present day, one of my favorite riders to watch ride anything, Larry Edgar. And then trail riding, he's got a lot of bowl and
Ashtrays,
trail riding
this thing there.
Yeah.
footage and pics and stuff, and he's just absolutely incredible.
Yep.
Definitely one of my favorites to watch.
100%. No, you say 5, but I'm sure if we sat here for 4 or
Oh,
5
dude.
hours, we could have a list of
How do
20
you pick
guys
one
that are
guy?
just.
Yeah, how do you just pick one? Like it's fucking
Everybody's got
difficult.
their piece, right?
Yeah.
Something they've added to the BMX world, whether it's that picture perfect table or
And it's interesting to think about that aspect of it too, where like, think about what these people have done on dirt jumps or as trail riders and what they've done for not just trail riding, obviously, but park riding, street riding, everything. Like
Everything.
you can really start to see like the way that certain people ride. It's one of my favorite things to look at is like watch somebody ride and you're like, okay, who do they look up to?
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
you can see it.
that's a good transition actually. Who is one of your favorite people that you look up to that you want to ride like? You know what I mean?
Wow, that's a difficult one.
It's a
because
hard one, dude.
I feel like when I was younger, it was never any one particular person. You know what I mean? Like there was just pieces of everybody's riding I wanted, but like I feel like what was most important for me was just flow.
Do you need a water or
I
anything?
wanted to.
Lovely.
Yeah, I'll take a water. I
I'll
wanted
have
to
go
flow
grab
well.
one. I think that's all of them.
What
but
do I
will
do with
grab
this thing?
that.
I'll arm wrestle for it.
Pop it.
Oh,
There
wow.
you go. I have one in the fridge. I'll be right back for you. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say like if I had to choose a rider nowadays who I want to ride like, I'd have to say Larry Edgar.
Oh, yeah, he's burly, though. Are you going to bust out some of his tricks or what?
Well, no, I mean just mostly for the air, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want
his
to.
speed. Yeah.
I don't want to lose that as
Yeah.
I get older, so I try to
Yeah.
keep
No,
my
and you say
airs.
that, and I.
And he's the king of airs.
One of the guys I always, I get googly eyes over is Chris Fox, right? Rides for
Oh,
yeah, absolutely another
fuck
one.
yeah.
Chris Fox.
You just watch him ride, and it's just like.
He's always somebody I forget about.
Well, yeah, until you see him ride, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that guy that goes faster than fucking everyone.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
And there you go. Like I think that's the new generation of
Yeah.
trail riders because now that
Yeah.
more municipal places are building pools and
Yeah.
stuff like that, you're getting the trails style flow.
Yeah.
But it's all done in pools now, which is actually really gnarly and awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about like bull riding nowadays is like you look at the Van Doren contests or the Van Doren, sorry, and you look at all these other contests that are coming up, and a lot of them are bull related. Keep that circle going, boy.
Yeah,
there we
yeah,
go.
Yeah. No, but it's good to see the bulls ridden like a set of trails, right? It almost seems like it sometimes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I fucking can't believe like just the way that things have been going lately, at least like, I don't know, I feel like BMX has started to really move towards being clean again, you know? I'm excited for that. I really hope that that's the case. Like, because I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm sick of the fucking dirty, gringy looking street riding. I'm not into it, dude.
Yeah.
Like, low tech shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a place for it.
Absolutely.
There is a place for it, and I had a post I put on my personal site.
I
there.
saw that. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, Ian
recently
stirred up controversy.
And yeah, there was some kickback from it. But like, as far as I'm concerned, someone made a comment about like riding, and it has to be, it's about fun, and we all ride different stuff. And I agree, absolutely. But when it comes to a level of sponsorship and professional contests, and where the money's going in the sport, unfortunately, the money has got to be attached to the spectator thing, I think, because that's generally where it's going to generate, the flow. And people want to watch big stuff. They want to watch stuff that, if they're not into BMX, the spectators are going to be drawn to, like we talked earlier about crashes or big exposés of skill. And, everyone into BMX world can appreciate the long linked Manny lines and nose Manny lines with all the technicals, grinds and stuff in them. But anybody outside that world, it holds very little, weight to. They can only watch it so long. It all looks the same, right?
Oh, exactly.
And that place is there in BMX, but if it's focused on that, I think the industry dies in a sense. Recently we just had, one of the most saddening things for me was to watch FBM close, a company that really was all just about having fun and essentially supporting the industry. And when we move away from, I think that, when we let it fall into the corporate hands, then we get,
no, I completely
the
agree.
different world that we've
I
got.
even remember, though, when I was like young, they would, the old guys were talking about how BMX was like in an ebb and flow state always, right? Like it was always up and down over the years. And, when you're young, you don't even think about it, right? But as we age, and you can see it, you watch it happen. Like you say, right now, it's low, you know what I mean? And it's coming back up, you know what I mean? So it's...
Do you guys think, I mean, this maybe isn't a question for you. I don't know about asking questions, but do you guys think, like, with the movement towards having BMX and skating in the Olympics now, do you think that, like, I think it'll impact BMX for sure.
In a positive or negative way, do you think?
I don't even know if it's positive or negative. I just know that there'll be an impact.
Yeah, I get that.
Because the next generation's coming up. You're gonna have those kids that are shoot for the Olympics, and then you're gonna have the kids that are just gonna fall, like BMX always does, into the back kind of streets and the woods and stuff like that, and it's just for your buddies.
So something that Escamilla and I talked about, which if you don't know who Mike Escamilla is, to do your fucking research, kids. Come on. Anyways, Escamilla and we talked about how, there's a big difference between BMX and skateboarding. And a lot of it isn't, just the fact that more people see skateboarding. It's that skateboarding is everywhere. Think about, like, how many times you've been to the mall and you see somebody with a fucking Thrasher shirt on. How often do you see somebody go into, like, what would be, Canadian version of Zoomies, West 49, which I used to work there, whatever. But anyways, it's one of those things that, like, skateboarding has become something that is so, like, for sale. You know what I mean? They sell skate culture so well, and it's such a, like, marketable thing. Whereas when it comes to BMX, how often do you fucking go to the mall and see somebody wearing a BMX shirt or wearing a pair of almond shoes?
Weird. And I've always felt, and I don't know because I've lived in London my whole life, but London just seems to be, there's two shops in town that carry stuff that's relevant. You know what I mean? So it's always been a very small and niche thing.
I think that's what does BMX like a lot of positive and a lot of negative, is that it's so small. Like, people don't really take it that seriously because it is so small. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it is one of those things that anybody that's involved with BMX, involved in building trails, building parks, building anything, or just, involved in general, they love it so much. And there's always such a love for it, Like, think about what I'm doing right now. For the last 10 years, I've been in BMX, Started out just doing, simple bunny hops and whatnot. Bought a shitty bike. This is actually, I think this is the 10th year that I've rode BMX. Wow. Anyways.
Congratulations.
I know. Dude, it's pretty crazy to think back at it, Like, especially because, like, I don't have too many tricks. I never, like, really cared that much about tricks, though, Like, I can tail whip somewhat. I've done it down stair sets. I land frame. Like I catch with my frame and my foot.
I've always
on
caught
a pedal,
my
but-
frame. It's been one of. Oh, look what you
There
did.
you go.
Drug abuse.
No, hey,
Here,
Yeah.
fucking throw her in
I
this
got
thing.
this. Now we're good.
All right, cool. There you go. Yeah, I don't know why it's canoeing. Sorry about that.
I've been down this
Fix it
road
up.
before.
Fix it up.
There you go.
We're working on it here.
Yeah. Well, there's a lighter somewhere around here. You can just restart it if you want.
This is kind of fun.
You might be able to make it work. But yeah, anyways, like, BMX just isn't a marketable thing at the moment because we haven't made it marketable, but I think that's okay. Like, I like the fact that it's small and that, if you go to the park and you see a kid riding a bike, it's not because he fucking bought it from the, skate shop and is just interested in doing it to, like, have that credibility. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's actually interested in riding. He likes riding. He likes the way that a bike works. He likes the way that all that stuff works,
Yeah.
Whether they know too much about BMX or not, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, like
Nice.
10 years, man, almost 10 years in BMX now, I think. And one of the things that, when I first thought about BMX is just something about just jumping bikes and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's come to the point where the other day I'm at work and this fucking kid shows up. He used to live down the street from me when I first moved to Kitchener. Didn't really know him. He was a young kid at the time. Guess what? He fucking knows exactly who I am. And he started riding BMX 2 years ago.
Nice.
I just haven't met him. That's the thing.
Cool.
It's like, yeah, I hang out with Nick and all the guys all the time. You're just never around because you're always busy. I'm like, well, fuck. Now I feel like an asshole. Right away, he's like, holy shit, HVXgoat. I'm like, that's so weird. I don't like that. I don't want to be a celebrity. But like at the same time, like it's all BMX. You know what I mean? Like we seriously sat there for the last half an hour of my shift and just talked shit about BMX.
Yeah.
Like, and he was so down.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a great little community.
I
of
love it,
folks.
man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything that I've done within BMX isn't for like personal gain. It's all for like to give back. You know what I mean? It's like BMX has done everything for me. So I'd love to be able to like sit down with just you guys, just random people that love building trails. You know what I mean? And hear your story and hear why you guys love BMX. But yeah, moving away from all that sappy shit. Favorite trail video? Do you guys have a favorite trail video?
I have to say it's Anthem, but the first one.
First one?
Yeah, I remember.
I'm an Anthem 2 guy. But
Sitting and just every Friday we would meet at a buddy's house and we would drink and we would watch Anthem and break it all over and over and over. It's such a great vid, right? Classic.
Exactly.
And when you talk about trails versus like contest jumps, right? Like pure trails, right? Like it's not, they weren't designed to do big tricks. It was just flowy sections, right?
Yeah.
Always my favorite vid.
Yeah, Anthem's
That's a hard
awesome.
one for me.
What were you going to say, sorry?
That's an actual one to nail it down to one video.
It's difficult, eh?
Yeah, like there's so many. I guess there wasn't a lot of trail specific videos either. There would have been specific parts, but I think one of the most influential ones for me was I can't even, to be honest, remember the actual video. It would have been a VHS back
But
in the day.
the rider.
But I remember the rider and the scene, and it was Taj.
Yeah.
And the section actually, he's riding through the streets, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he rides into a park, and then he's right into, I think it's Austin Street Trails
it's
in
probably
Texas.
9th Street,
Or 9th Street.
So
Yeah.
it sounds like
Sorry,
it needs
that's right.
forward or
And
something.
yeah, and he's manning through them. But I just remember as a kid, just watching the flow was just mesmerizing. Just his ability at speed to kind of, it just looks so cool. But yeah, I would have to say that was one of my favorite parts. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about all the noise in the background there, guys. I don't know what the hell's happening on my street here, but I think there's somebody like digging something or doing something with the city. We live right on the river too. So like what's really shitty is like last week we had fucking like the city come by for 48 hours and run a sub pump to push all the water back into the river
I was gonna say,
because
right
the
by the river
drainage
there,
goes right
yeah.
into the river here. So fuck, man. I know it's so hard to like plan a podcast around that because I don't know. Like you guys show up and all of a sudden, what the fuck? Now there's city people here, friggin' city dicks.
Start the generator.
For me, Anthem 2 is like one of my favorite, videos of all time and trail video because it does have, trail riding from some of the best in the world. Like first section, Mike Aiken.
Yep.
You go through, you've got Chris Doyle has a section, Brian Yeagle, which his name is never passed around anymore. I don't even know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But he is like, he had a really cool style in general and also brought it to trails. He's like one of my favorite all-around riders of all time. Like there's just so many good trail parts in that. Clint Reynolds, Mark Mulville.
Yeah,
Mark Mulville is
Mulville.
nuts.
Some of the best
I follow him
Supermans in the
yeah,
game.
I follow him on Instagram, and he did like bar spin and T-bog a little while
Dude.
back, and I was just like, oh.
How the hell are you gonna fucking do 3 tricks in one air?
Yeah.
Like motherfucker, and they're all clean.
And
They're
they're clean.
not at the same time.
Yeah.
The one that he did that always speaks to me is bar spin, X up, turn down over
Yeah.
a dirt jump.
Yeah,
Like you're
there's
fucked.
a lot of stuff. Yeah.
There's a photo of him somewhere on his Instagram. He posted it years ago, and I wish that I had the save button at that time because I would have saved it. It's him in Anthem 2. There's a clip of him doing this huge boost, and like you see the actual photo, and it does not do it justice because it's way higher than
Yeah,
that. but
photos
it's
never do, right?
fucked.
Yeah.
It's literally like the jump is like a 6 foot tall jump with like maybe a 20-foot gap. And he's like 20, 30 feet in the air. And I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's literally so fucking high in the air. And I think that really like says a lot about just trail riding.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's a couple of downhill contests that they have every year that I like to, catch them on YouTube when I can. It's always my go-to
It might be like
stuff
one more
to watch,
Yeah, I think it's almost done. But yeah, trails are they're the best, dude.
It is the best.
It's like, I love seeing that because it is such a creative thing, right? Like when you think about street riding or trail riding, street riding is one of those things that, yeah, you are creative. You're going to go out and find the spots and you're going to ride them. You're going to film whatever, do whatever you want to do. Dirt jumping, aka trail riding, is way different in the fact that you are going to go and find a spot and then you're going to build what you want to ride there. Each spot is different. You can't just, like, if your trails get demolished at one spot and then you move, like, a couple kilometers away,
They're always
you
unique,
can't build the same shit there. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah.
It's
You
like,
work with the lay of the land,
Yeah.
which is really cool. I mean, an experienced trail builder is going to be able to take into consideration, drainage.
I've just realized we've been talking for a long time and we haven't even mentioned like Cox Trails.
oh my
Oh, yeah,
God,
it's
in
come up,
Guelph,
right?
yeah.
It
Hasn't
Guelph.
it? And I was
Amazing
just
set of
saying that
trails.
because Jordan's talking to us, right? He's like, "Hey, you guys, like, what's up, Jordan?"
Oh, yeah, Jordan.
going
Yeah.
on?
Fucking
Legend.
Bonnie BMX.
Yeah.
Bonnie, our
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
podcast
there's a
studio.
whole crew of amazing guys out there that
Yeah.
built some of the most epic,
Oh yeah.
trails
yeah.
in existence in Guelph area, and yeah, those were definitely some of my favorite ones to ride.
Cox is crazy, and like they've actually kind of stayed decent.
At least they're
I
not
went
plowed.
there. I
They're
went
not
there
plowed.
2 years ago, I think, and I felt like such a fucking idiot because I wear a full face all the time. Forgot my fucking helmet at home. So I literally show up and I'm like, motherfucker, like I can't even get to ride these, like at least to my full extent. Like I wanted to get through the whole line. I think I ended up doing the first like 2 jumps
Yeah.
and basically just sat around and filmed all day.
Yeah.
Like drank a couple beers, but I'm like, motherfucker, like I got to go
In the
back.
heyday, that place
Yeah.
was quite the
Oh, yeah.
quite
Oh,
the
yeah.
gem.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still like, dude, I don't know. You can go there now, and I bet you the jumps are
It's
still
nothing.
decent.
Well,
It's
I
nothing.
think
It'll
somebody-
never be as close as what it was.
Yeah, like it's so faded compared to what it was at one point.
Yeah.
And I mean that place had they had I can't remember Etney's crew I think at one point come through there.
Well, they had the Primo Strange crew come in because they filmed a couple
Maybe it was
clips
the
there.
Primo then, yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember, some big names came through that place, and there's some really epic times there.
Yeah.
Dude, fucking, it's one of my favorite like mid-school edits of all time. It's like 12 minutes long. It's all Kitchener, London, Toronto. It's with Dakota Roche, fucking Nathan Williams, Corey Martinez,
Oh,
John
yeah.
Heaton,
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
all
yeah.
the best riders.
Yeah.
And they didn't just ride street. They rode fucking the Core Warehouse. They rode the Cox Trails, I'm pretty sure. They rode like literally 80% of it is all Kitchener Street. So that's one of the things where I'm like, in all of my videos, people be like, yeah, I think we'll be the first one to 3 this. And I'm like, actually, Nathan Williams trucked it like 15 fucking years ago. Like, hate to
Yeah.
burst your bubble.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's one of my favorite videos of all time. Just because it's all like top people. It's all like decent music. Like trail riding also. Like any video that you see with trail riding typically has some pretty good music. One that really speaks out to me is, we were saying Anthem 2 with Mark Mulville. His video part has like a hair metal song. It's by Poison. I forget what it's called. but it's just one of those things where it's like that all fucking plays into the whole vibes of trails.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I always loved when there was trail sections and the new props and shit when it would come out.
Oh,
you know what I
absolutely.
mean? And it was just like, yeah, who's flowing this month, you know?
Hell yeah.
That and the new creations, the new obstacles. I love to see the new shapes that get built, and you know, the evolution of shapes and jumps have kind of changed over the years too.
So that actually kind of brings up a nice controversial point here. How do you guys feel about mixing wooden obstacles within trail riding? Ooh. You know, you often see the wooden takeoff with the dirt landing. I feel like that's not trails. In my mind, that's not trails.
I really think it depends on, I mean...
Where do you see that more, though, right? So
I'm
just trying to think. Well, you say, yeah, maybe even that, but also, like, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I see videos of, like, a public park in Colorado or something where they've built a dirt park, but the lips are made out of wood. And the only thing I think right away is, well, there's no maintenance on the lip, and the landing can probably, you know, go without maintenance
much longer,
way longer than the lip, right?
Definitely...
So is it smart in a public park? Maybe, yeah. Would I do it in my trails? Nah.
I think that's a good point, actually, because I didn't really think of that,
agree.
you know?
Yeah.
I think that it's like, if it is a public park, maybe wooden lips are the best,
yeah.
you know, with a dirt landing. Because realistically, like you said, the lip's never going to change. The landing might change a little bit, but like, how often do you really care about how the landing feels as long as it's kind of soft? You're looking at the bun.
I see it on your little monitor there. I'm thinking he's right here, but he's not. He's over there.
It's awesome, eh? The rabbits always trip everybody out. Yeah, it's so funny. And like Nibbler's somewhere in here. She's fucking massive. I don't know where she went. Oh, she's under my desk. She's literally just fucking right there hanging out.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Oh man, rabbits are the best for podcasts.
Yeah. I have, though. I will admit, I've thought about, you know, as I'm rebuilding my jump after the rain, you know, I should just make this out of wood.
Wood,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But then at the same time, it's like you make it out of wood, and it's like, well, what if today I want to throw a foot on top of it? You know what I mean? I could do that easier with a shovel. You know, and I'd like we're back to, like, we were talking about the aesthetic of the jump earlier, right? I think I'd rather see a set of nicely...
I think it also, it looks way better if you have a nice carved, like, fresh lip.
Yeah, you get
with
the
a nice
blue groove
landing,
going, right?
Whereas you've got a fucking piece of plywood, and you know that it's got spray paint on it.
For me, it's like, I think, from the rider's perspective, I'll say this. I don't like the transition between wood to dirt. Or from
That's a good
dirt
point.
to the wood. No matter what, over time... You know, when you hit the wooden ramp, it always, you know, does a little rock in the ground or something, and eventually that little transition spot where you make that transfer starts to get rough, and I feel like it's just never. I don't know. I mean, I've seen the setups where the jumps can be fun and stuff, and definitely I think you're right, Ryan. Publicly, it makes sense for maintenance, but. As a dirt purist, we'll call it. It just feels the best when you've just got that perfect, dirt lip that's formed.
You get a nice flowy set of trails. There's probably there's probably no time to have those. You know, I'm also thinking about like a Red Bull course where they do the full squish mountain bikes. You know, and that's fucking badass nowadays. Those guys are fucking nuts, right? Like I think a couple local there. You know, the guy that's always putting out a couple videos. Come on, give me his name. He's got the full squish mountain bike.
Oh, I don't know. Dylan Stark?
Yeah, I would think he's probably one of them, right?
Dylan Stark is like, he's a BMX dude that also rides like a full squish mountain bike.
Reader?
Yeah.
Brett Reader's really good.
You know, I'm just saying those guys are equally as badass, even though they've got wood in the middle of their course. You know what I mean? Like that's a totally different situation where
you talk to the mountain bike world,
jump up on the plank and then jump down. You know what I mean? Like even Nyquist was like Ryan Nyquist again.
He was riding in that. Drew rode it for a little while too. Drew B.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Damn,
I think once you get into the mountain bike world, though, when you've got 4-inch, even if it's limited 4-inch short travel, then you're never going to feel that transition that I'm talking about. You're on full rigid and
I get that.
little wheel.
That super flow on the hard course, right? Yeah,
It just doesn't feel good.
It's a different.
Nothing feels shittier when you're trying to flow ride than having that little rock
swoosh.
or that little
sticker
or the transition to the lip that just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And it throws you off. Whereas on a mountain bike, you'll never feel that.
And I like the fact that, like, you know, anytime that there's a fucking rock in the lip or something, you can tell yourself, you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to ride the lip 2 inches over where the rock isn't. And no matter what, you'll always fucking hit it.
You're thinking about it.
Like, that's the thing. You'll always fucking hit it.
Target fixation, I think they call that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think that's huge in trails, right? Yeah.
Where you start staring at a
100%.
tree you don't want to hit,
Yeah.
bam, right into the tree.
Right
you
in the
go.
fucking tree. Damn, man.
Super fucking cheesy, but it's like Top Gun, right? On a good set of trails, right? If you think you die, you know,
Just let it happen, right?
You just gotta flow, man. Yeah, super fast.
Yeah. Keep looking
Love
at the
that.
trail.
Yeah. Just
Damn,
Eyes
dude.
in the prize, is that the thinking? I don't even remember that. You must have been a big Top
you
Gun
don't remember?
fan.
No, man.
Come
I
on,
just
man.
remember that he was. I don't know. He's talking to the teacher or something because she was giving him shit for doing a move or something. And I wasn't thinking. If you think you die,
Admit
you
it.
know.
You love Tom Cruise. You guys have a
Not
short
at all,
guy
man.
love,
Not at all.
pro love.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've said it to a few people that have come over in the back.
I remember you saying that.
What do I do? I said, just don't think about it.
It's
Pretty
part
much.
of it true. I
Yeah,
guess could
just
try to
don't
tell
think about
Josh
it,
the other
right?
night.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
he's like, I want to jump that. I'm like,
Don't think
just
about
go.
Yeah.
You BMXers are all the same.
Yeah.
One of the people that I love that comes to your trails like regularly is Ben.
Ben's the
Ben's
man.
Ben's the man, dude. He's so
Man.
quiet, and I wish that he would
Yeah.
talk more. But I'm like, he's just
Ben.
it's awesome because no
Get
matter
him on the
what,
right subject.
he's
yeah.
always having a good
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
always like
Yeah.
so down. You know, he might not be able to clear all of them on a certain day,
Yeah.
but I know for a fact that he's definitely done most of them.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he is such a cool dude. I love that guy. So
Yeah.
Ben, if you're listening, you're the
Yeah.
fucking best.
Yeah, Ben's a local, so you know he'll call me. He comes out to help the dig, and he likes to ride.
Hell
so,
yeah.
Yeah, fucking Ben's the man.
Ben, you're the man. Not to, you know,
Yeah.
suck your dick too much on this,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you're the man. Hell yeah. So let's talk about why trails have been kind of underrated for the last 10, 15 years. What do you think? Do you think it's just that BMX is going through a change, or do you think that people are just lazy?
One word,
Yeah, it's trail-
work.
Yeah, it's work. It's
It-
trails
I think so.
specifically.
I would
You're going
agree.
to work more than you're going to ride.
100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you better love it, or you won't
yeah.
last long in it.
100%.
Yeah.
I probably spent 60%. Like if you take up all the time I've spent in my backyard, it's 80% digging.
Yeah,
and
10
20%
years,
riding.
like 8 years of digging and
Yeah,
2 years
yeah,
of
2
riding?
years of riding. Yeah, yeah.
I'd say
If
so.
that.
Yeah, and it's I think my dirt's really soft and sucky, and there's a lot of sand, and so there's a lot of erosion. And I've been reading about different things I can do, to try and stop that. But like it's always going to be work. So if I want to change that, I got to like truck in dirt or move, and I'm fine with it.
Get some like clay chucked in. I bet that would be.
and people have said try this, try that, and it's always so difficult.
Trial and error.
Yeah. So every year I try something new and see if it works out. And,
There you go.
w-
I always heard rumors that the Joyride's dirt jumps that they have on the side of the building were built with like a half, or like not half, but like a concrete mixture as well, so that they keep their shape longer.
Yep.
I don't know if that's true or not, and I don't know how that would work.
There's hardening agents as possible.
Yeah, and it's crazy to say that. If you look at Posh and Caddy, even I'm not sure which one, but I'm pretty sure they take some Quikrete powder and
I've experimented
and
with
they
it.
throw it around on and maybe berms and flat bottoms. You know what I mean? But
That's a good.
to me,
point.
landings and lips usually can just from riding them is going to be the best way to get the smooth.
Well, especially because
smoothest
you're going to have a
groove,
lot
right?
more pressure on it
Yeah.
rather than when you're like rolling up to it, right? That
Yeah.
flat bottom, I always find like one of the most least maintained spots that actually should be maintained and people should be taken care of is
Yeah.
just the flats going into the jumps,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
how often do you fucking go in and you start riding it and then all of a sudden there's this bump?
Yeah,
and
it's
you're
a
like, well,
bump,
what the
bump
fuck?
jump to the lip.
Yeah. And like it never works. But if
Yeah.
you were to fix that,
Well, that
Like,
actually
it
was going to
changes
play into
everything.
a point I was going to make.
Yeah.
I feel like, people ask why would you put that much time and effort into, building the jumps. And we were talking a little bit earlier about the different styles of jumps. The guys that'll just like pack the dead center. Hey, it's good enough. Throw the logs or the dishwasher into the landing. I think that the level of work
I love it
you
goes
put
from
into the jumps and creating them and making sure everything's perfect actually plays into how the level of fun you get on and the level of enjoyment you get out of it, because you get these perfectly smooth glass-like trails. They ride exactly like the amount of effort you've put into them. And if you hack job it, you get that bump on the flat bottom that, you know, you may ride the jump 20 times perfect and then one time hit it. And, you know, that ends your week.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, man. I definitely agree, though. Trails, the reason they're dying is because kids don't want to put in the work. You know, it's a lot
they can't,
easier.
though, right? Either, right? You can't, because when you
Running out of
do,
space.
then you get plowed, right? So like it's really, you know, and nobody's building anything.
Yeah.
I guess, what did they just build? Brantford. Brantford's got that downhill
Brantford's got a cool park. I haven't
you know,
ridden there yet.
where else have I
Been
been?
there,
Sunnyside, dirt jumps to Toronto.
Toronto,
yeah, 100%.
The
So
Dawn.
there are things happening. Things are, you know, to expose dirt to people, but true trails, right? Like you can't even. What do you guys fucking do?
I just seen this gigantic.
He's
Is that a
huge,
bunny?
eh?
It's just like a jackrabbit.
It is a
Godzilla
Flemish
rabbit.
giant.
Yeah.
She's huge.
Yeah,
She's
and
actually-
it's like doing like I think it was trying to intimidate me.
Who knows, man? She's pretty
Pounded its
nice.
chest there or something. I don't know.
I fell asleep on the couch
Don't
last
look at it,
night.
just
Had one too many of these and
Couple of
fucking
pops.
yeah. When I fell asleep, I like wake up at 7 in the morning and she's sitting on top of me, just licking my fucking face, like right here. I'm like, oh, hello.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they're
what were you saying?
hilarious.
We were talking about like you know, true trails versus you know, like contest trick jumps, right?
Yeah, so like
And
Toyota
I would say
and all
even
those other ones.
you know, is it some of the public places that are being built and stuff like that are funded by, you know, public money, so that like everybody can just go and use them.
Yeah.
You know, where do you see trails versus you know, contests like jumps? You know what I mean? You don't see trails because like a long line of flowy different stuff with like some berms and some, you know, some rollers and some doubles and you know, that takes up a good amount of space.
I
right?
think that's coming though. I think we're seeing the influx of a lot of pump tracks coming.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking,
into
like,
play, which
like-
is the beginning of it.
Yeah.
What is it? Burlington where they got the cement tunnel and the pump tracks? It's outside. We've been there a few times. Or Hamilton. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Not Trashmore, but
I don't know what one you're talking about.
Craig Jacques takes care of it. And that
Wait,
kind of
wait,
stuff.
wait. Is that the one in Cambridge?
Yes, that's it. Cambridge.
Yeah, the
So
Cambridge
right?
part.
Like that's got, you know, you got a couple of jumps, you got a turn, you got a berm, you can go either way.
Yeah, those are like
know.
those are actually really cool.
And
I
then
don't
I
know
think
why
about-
I
they
haven't ridden them. Oh,
Yeah.
Riverside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Riverside.
have not ridden.
I don't
You
think
haven't been
they
there?
they don't
No,
get
it's-
very much love. That's the thing. You
Yeah.
know, they're built by the city, which is nice. They have a guy that maintains it pretty much constantly.
Yeah.
However, they're fenced off, so then, you know, they just won't come and open the gate, either that they didn't
Okay.
have somebody maintain them, they're not safe, or they just don't feel like opening the gate that day. So
wow.
often, like whenever I go to the park, I never
waste.
jump the gate because my personal thought is, hey, I don't want to fuck up these jumps. It's not me fixing it. You know, yes, it's a
Yeah,
city
you don't know
thing.
why they're closed.
That's the thing. I don't know why it's
So
closed.
there's that bowl right across in the,
Yeah,
in the
there's
park, right?
way more shit to do.
Yeah.
But I always see kids riding the fucking, like, they'll jump
Yeah.
the fence and ride it. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. I understand it. But I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, I don't want to fuck it up. I'd
Yeah.
rather wait for another
And
day.
I'm talking about that place because like it's you know, it's got lines. I
That's the
guess.
thing. It's got
we'll
lines.
call
It's
it
actually-
lines.
I
You know,
would say-
as opposed to you know, we talk about Brantford and I haven't yet been there, but the pictures that I've seen, it looks like everything's a straight line.
Yeah, that's I'm pretty
You know
much.
what I mean?
like-
It's all a straight line and it's a couple of jumps, and we're back to talking about, you know,
I think
contests
Riverside
like
and-
jump versus
not
trails,
Riverside. What's the one in
and that's different.
Toronto?
Sunnyside?
Sunnyside.
Yeah,
That's right.
I would say those two are the
Sunnyside's
best.
exact same thing though. It's pretty much a straight linear line, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from photos, I think you're right. Right? Do they have like a big wooden wall ride or something at the end?
They do.
Yeah,
they have a
maybe,
big
yeah.
wooden
I
wall
feel
ride.
like those it's harder to get the passion or find that bug though. It's not nearly as fun doing a straight line.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
just
and
isn't.
I don't even know if like people that, you know, aren't into BMX would, you know, listen to us right now and understand what we're saying
Yeah.
about
Right.
some sort of trails versus a couple of
Yeah,
jumps in a
exactly.
line.
Oh
you know
my
what I mean?
God.
I,
They don't
you know, they're
understand
probably
the
like, what the
difference.
hell? These guys have been smoking too much.
I have the best fucking thing to like go off of that. So I was like, I always ask Taylor to look through because she went to university for like English stuff, so she always reads through my scripts and whatnot just to make sure they sound right.
Awesome.
She's like, well, you should talk about the trails in like Holland or Belgium. And I'm like, what? So then we get on the topic. They're fucking like, she's like, yeah, they're like 76 kilometers long. I'm like, what? So then we start talking. She's talking about walking trails and
Instantly, you know
biking
it's not
trails.
the same
Yeah.
time.
That's the
Nobody
thing,
done
I'm like-
76
So-
kilometers of trail and had it last that long.
Yeah.
Taylor understands like BMX stuff for the most part. She worked at West 49 with me, so she
Yeah.
understands skateboarding. She gets it.
Yeah.
She like loves that I'm this into BMX. But she had no idea what the hell I was talking about. I'm like, trails is a different thing. Trails is like you build dirt jumps and like you build berms and rollers. And she's like, okay, but like no, it's not the same. Like, I'm sorry. I love you, Tay. You're great.
Yeah, if there's no turn in the course, is it trails?
trail? Yeah, I don't know. That's a good one.
That's where we'll
That's
leave.
a good-
That's, you know,
That's a
maybe
good
that's a
point.
question for the viewers.
Because then
Yeah.
I feel like
I don't know.
you can call it a dirt jump. It's just dirt.
It's
Or
dirt jumps. Yeah, dirt jumps.
You could have 10 in a
jumps,
row. Is
dirt
it
lumps,
trails?
maybe?
I don't think so because you didn't
Turn. There was no hip or twist in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's got to be more than just one.
Yeah.
That's the thing I've always found about
Maybe
like
it's choice. Maybe it's line choice. Is that what you can do more than one line?
Because if you had 2 sets of jumps, 10 in a row, side by side, you could
turn.
You could jump back and forth, right? Is it
It's getting
trails
complicated.
then? I don't know.
that's hilarious. Taylor actually was in the live stream right now at work. It's like they were in Germany. Like, oh.
The walking trails,
Yeah.
not the real bike
Well,
trails.
we could change them into.
76 kilometers. I built my trails
Just-
into a circle,
dude.
thinking I would do 2 laps.
You're going to have fucking
I cannot do, I do
Yeah.
maybe 2 on a good day.
washroom. Okay, so just when you go through there, that Vans door, there's a light on the left side when you go in.
Okay.
You'll see it. Yeah, dude, I completely agree. Because, like, think about, like, how long those jumps are. Like, when I ride the joyride, the wooden trails or the wooden jumps there,
Yeah.
I do one roll through and I'm sitting on the sidelines like,
Yeah.
holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
Even your jumps, like,
Yeah.
I haven't even done the whole things yet. And, like, by the time I fucking do 3 laps on it, like, okay, I got to settle
Yeah.
down for a
Oh,
minute.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there was that one kid. We saw him the next day at Water Down, that skate park. I forget the kid's name. He's a younger kid, racer. He had just started riding, I think, but he was
Okay,
clearing
okay.
all of the jumps.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
did like 3 laps in one row.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I forget who that was,
find
but
him.
he. Yeah, that's one of those things where I'm like, you're fucking too young.
His
That's the
name
problem.
I believe his name was Alex.
I think it might be.
And he's a monster on a BMX bike.
Yeah, he's a fucking
Yeah,
pretty cool dude.
He's a flowy rider.
Oh man, Senna looks like she's dead right now. I don't know if you ever see this. She was like right on her side, fucking arms flapped out. Rabbits will scare the shit out of you,
The black
man.
one is the biggest bunny rabbit I have ever seen.
She's only getting bigger. Oh fuck. So we were talking a little bit about Toyota Triple Challenge earlier and these contests. Let's talk about why those contests aren't trail riding, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
It's not though.
My thing is like
I
right
guess,
away, it's 2 jumps in a row.
Yep.
And it involves big gnarly
And a
flippy
quarter pipe,
tricks
and a quarter
pipe.
Which I have nothing bad to say about that, right? Like I want to put a quarter pipe in my backyard, but because
Well, there's quarter pipes at other trails.
yeah, sure, but it's not going to be in the middle of the set, right? Like it'll probably be a roll in and the ending. You're done, turning,
Exactly.
right? Because you got to turn.
You have to
get
turn.
around the course.
Yeah.
So it's trails, I think.
I think that's fair. I think if it's a straight line and it's just jumps. I think the main thing for me is that I would classify trails if it has 1 berm, 1 roller, 1 jump.
Yeah.
To me, that's trail riding.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And you got to have those minimum
Hold
things.
on. What is the defining? I just came back from the washroom here. What's the defining question again?
Okay,
Sorry?
so we're talking about Triple Challenge and
What's
how
the difference?
Yeah, what's the difference between
Triple Challenge trails?
Yeah, is Triple Challenge trails
No, it's
are
dirt
these
jumping
contests?
competition.
Okay.
There we go. That's what
And
I
I think-
feel.
I
I
think
think
to
I'm
me-
on that page. Yeah.
I
I'm
think,
there.
yeah,
I'm there.
for me to identify with trails, I feel like there's going to be jumps and lines and pieces of it that nobody's doing tricks over, and they're not meant to.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, it's for the rider's enjoyment opposed to spectator enjoyment. Spectators just want to see big air, so that's why you get 2 or 3 big jumps in a row, and they're usually, trail riding is personal. I think we get back to that earlier. It's
No,
very
yeah,
much
of
about
course.
the feeling. So. Yeah, you're more likely to see a line with a bunch of rollers and some technical fun stuff, through it than, you're not going to see that in a huge contest because it's not exciting to watch.
Yeah, of course.
But we've seen that in the Red Bull ones, no?
You do. I think those are more technical.
Is that what
placed,
they?
though.
Hang on, I'm
You understand,
I'm
like-
googling.
Technically placed there to maintain or gain speed more so than anything else.
Oh, of
I mean,
course.
why you put them in the trails in the woods, but I feel like that because sometimes becomes the fun part of it as you just link together a whole bunch of rollers.
Yeah, it's not that you wanted to turn; it's that there was a tree there. That you
Yeah, that's
didn't
right.
wanna-
Well, that's how I think how it
You didn't want to
started.
knock it down. Or
No, that's
whatever.
fair. That's a good point, actually. I kind of agree with you. That's probably how trail riding became a thing, is that you don't want to knock all these trees down.
Yeah.
One, it's too much work. Two, you're just killing a tree for
Yeah, you
no
don't wanna
reason,
destroy
right?
Nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that trail riding, you absolutely need to have a berm, a roller, and a
Yes.
just a jump,
Red
and
Bull
maybe a hip.
Dreamline. Red Bull Dreamline.
Dreamline,
Yeah,
yeah,
Dreamline.
yeah.
I think is representative of trails.
I think that's
I
the
would say
closest
so.
thing these days.
Yeah.
But then you've got, that mixture of wooden structures and drops and stuff in, which can be trails. I think that's the evolution of it now these days. That is trails. The closest thing we have is a
Yeah.
competition level trails.
I would love to see somebody build a set of jumps and put a big fucking rail, like a flat rail, right in the middle.
Ryan's Trails actually had a rail at one point.
I had hitching
Actually.
posts,
It did,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's
There's a
sick.
hitching post rail.
I wanted to learn how to do over ice
Oh
and
yeah,
back, right? And so I pulled it, and then I took it down because
that's hilarious. I like how it's like, I built that just to do that one trick, and now it's gone, and I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
Over
No,
ice
and I
is
ate
pretty
shit.
cool.
I really
though.
hurt myself, getting that over
Oh,
ice.
dude, you're right under your ribs
Oh, I
every
did,
time.
yeah.
Every time.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you don't hit the peg,
Yep.
you're going on your
You're
ribs.
going on your ribs.
If you fucking land on the top and you're not expecting it, you're going onto your hip
Oh,
or
yeah.
your ribs.
Yeah.
If you go too far, well, you're probably gonna hit your fucking face.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But rolling away from it was magic, right?
oh, of
That's
course.
right.
Did
you get a clip?
I have a picture. I don't have a clip.
Oh, it didn't happen.
But
Yeah, it
Steve,
didn't
Steve,
happen.
Wait. Steve was there. Remember Steve?
I don't know,
Steve
no.
lived with me.
This guy Steve, he
Steve
saw it. Don't
Coleman.
worry.
No, Steve Coleman,
He's
when he was
solid.
there,
He's
he
another
saw
legend.
it over
Yeah.
ice. Yeah, Steve Coleman.
I'll say I don't subscribe to that shit though, because you know what? I have an entire career of riding my bike that I filmed very little of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know it
Except you get
happened.
the best shit like that flip fail.
I don't know. That was a good moment. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude.
That was the first time I've
cringed,
ever
man.
had
I
like
cringed.
catastrophic failure in a flip, and it was a big fear for a long time. And to have it happen was a blessing in disguise, because I did get out rather unscathed,
Yeah.
and it actually took all of my hesitation or fear out of it. There's zero there now, and I'm just like,
There you go.
it's like I'm comfortable from there now.
I always think that when I watched that clip a couple times, when I watched it, every time,
I've
like,
watched it
Jesus
so many
Christ,
times.
dude. If you were over by a foot more, the way that you flipped off of it, you would have landed on the fucking
I
concrete.
could have, yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ,
I feel I don't
dude.
like picking apart crashes like that, because
I
there's a
know.
lot of what ifs, and there's always bad stuff.
Well,
right?
that's the
It could've
thing.
been
That's
worse.
why I do Bail of the Week here, where I pick apart your crashes. If you guys want to win a frame, send in your clips for Bail of the Week.
Bail of the week.
Get that
I'm
plug
going
in
for
there.
it. I'll
Yeah, you're gonna be up there.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
that
You'll
was-
be
Is
on
it a
there.
good one?
It was
Like,
a good one, dude.
You
Yeah.
always question.
Well, I
it.
pick typically when people send stuff in, any of the bad stuff I just won't air, but then any of the mediocre stuff I'll air, with of course the good clips too, and then whoever's the guest that week picks it. I don't even pick. To me, I'm I have 1,000 people I'd love to make Bail of the Week champion, but
It's laughable, Bail. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
that's the
Like,
thing.
Good.
You
He
know, I
walked
seen
away.
the one you had. I
walked
think
away.
maybe the other day, and it was the one guy over cleared the hip, and the frame
Oh
broke.
my
That would
god!
work.
I mean, I
Yeah.
couldn't even laugh at that. I just
Yeah.
was like, "Oh,
Is he okay?
gross." Yeah, is he
Is he
okay?
okay?
Right?
Oh, he's fine. Don't worry. He's
Does
fine.
that win, or is it one of those? Because mine's bad, but I get out, and you can kind of tell I get out okay, so it's laughable.
Yeah, I also if you watched right to the end on that clip, there's a clip of my buddy Eric who's at All In, and he tries to do a rock to pegs on the quarter pipe, and misses the pegs completely and goes right onto his fucking ribs and then slides down. It's it looks so painful, but just the fact that the one thing I've said about Eric a billion times, and I'll always say it, his bails are so not graceful. They're the complete opposite. It's always so rough and so hard.
It's a skill, though.
Yeah.
He should work on that, though. Yeah.
It's
It's
It would be beneficial overall around.
well, he might win a frame out of it.
there
you know
we
what
go.
I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's also beneficial.
He already won Bail of the Week champion once. He might do it again. He has so many good bails, which is hilarious. You want to? Here's a grinder for you. I got papers there. If you want to roll another one, there's a little bubbler here. If you're into these things,
We'll
so
use the papers.
hell yeah.
We got Taylor saying hi.
That is my lovely lady. Taylor, don't get
Hello,
mad at me when the
Taylor.
whole house smells like marijuana. It's okay.
It's legal.
It's legal now. It's fucking legal, boys. Do you guys see this fucking glass tip that I have on the end of
I was
this?
going to compliment you on that. That's nice. Yeah.
I need to clean it. I only have one, and I bought it, and it cost me like $10. But I'm like, oh, this is fucking sick.
I found this to be interesting
Yeah, the wooden dick.
as a bottle.
Thank
opener.
God, I was waiting for somebody to fucking say something about it because
It
every
seemed rather
podcast.
normal.
I figure you put it on the table because you want somebody to
That's
say
the
something.
thing.
Something.
Not many people have a dick.
I wasn't gonna do it. So.
Everybody
So
has
you see
mentioned
the
it so far. There hasn't been a single episode where somebody hasn't talked about the fucking dick. So I'm like, you have to fucking say it.
It's a
Like,
bottle opener.
it is a bottle opener. And one of my favorite things to do is you just take your pants, and you unzip the fly, and you just leave it in there. You just like walk around. So I was at a
Got
New
what?
Year's party. That's the thing. I'm at a New Year's party. I do that, and everybody's kind of like laughing about it. And then I pull it out and like crack a girl's beer. Like, so funny, dude. Oh, man.
It's terrible.
It's so good. Here's that. Do you roll with filters at all or no?
I usually don't.
Don't worry about it then. Yeah, man. I would say Triple Challenge is not trails. I think it needs to have
that.
trail riding
I think
needs to have.
I think that has its place in the BMX world.
Oh, absolutely.
and I appreciate.
I
that.
love the thing that I love about BMX is that you can step back and look at trail riding and look at the art form of riding trails, look at how people ride trails, the appreciation that comes with it, or you can decide to look at, the craziest shit that just happened. You got somebody doing a, cash roll triple whip. Like, what the fuck just happened? Like when I look at somebody doing a cash roll, it makes zero sense.
Yeah, how do you start that?
That's the thing. I'm like, I've tried them into the foam pit. It doesn't work. Like, I don't get it.
Casserole is like I don't know.
Is it 360?
It's like a front. It's like a front.
So,
off
cash
axis.
roll is a 180. The best way to explain it is a 180
Somebody has to explain
backflip.
a BMX.
You'd
180.
know it if you saw it.
It's
A 180 back. So
it's
that's weird.
it's essentially a 180 to a flare, without like ever landing. You know what I mean? Like when you go into it, you start doing a flare after the 180.
Yeah.
Here, I'll pull up a clip.
Pull up a clip for
Yeah,
me.
keep talking and I'll pull
I'd
this
have
up.
to visualize.
You need to
that.
watch
I'm
more
lost.
vids. Cash roll.
Like I've seen
Who
when
does
I
them a
just-
lot?
Brett Banasewicz was like the best at cash rolls. If you
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a really good example.
Who else
You know
does
you're
them?
old when a trick's got to be explained.
Daniel Dares does them a lot.
Yeah, well, Dares invented it, but Brett
he?
did it better.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but not to say that it's bad if it's not trails. It's just different.
Oh, absolutely.
But the title of trails, yeah, you can't. I don't think you can have it. Some top trail rider guys are gonna call us out.
Yeah, really. Who?
Well, fucking hop on the
These guys
number,
are- these
boys.
guys are full of
Speak on this
shit.
subject. You, so what if you put a shovel in the ground?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
okay,
right.
okay.
There you go. All right, let me fast forward to this cash roll. I know he does one at the end of this, I think. It's ridiculous. Okay, here we go. Right here.
Whoa.
Right? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you're slow-mo, slow-mo.
One-
So he does
Okay,
like
yeah,
a,
I see it. I
You see what I
what
see?
you
does a
do. No, it
180 and
doesn't
then a
make sense.
backflip
It's-
and then the other 180.
It's weird because I don't think it's a backflip. I think it's technically a front flip, but it's
Backwards.
not. That's the thing. It's
Yeah, I
backwards.
see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like he's twisting, keeping a lot of the that pump in the hip area.
Yeah.
Looks like he
What about a
rotates.
little while ago? There was that contest, though. I believe it was in a big series of some sort, right? And somebody flew off the side of it because it had a berm, shark fin out.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And,
Yeah. That was a do tour contest.
Okay, so that was.
They
Future.
started like adapting and making it more trail-like.
I
It was
gonna
really
say
cool.
that. I watched that because I thought to myself, well, that's an attempt at trails.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At least for like
okay.
big money,
Yeah.
cash out trails.
There was
Like
a big drop in, and what was it, a 6-pack, and then a berm to shark fin.
so I think they
to
had a
another big
6-pack.
double.
They had like, a nice berm with everything on there too, like nice shark fin. That looked
Yeah,
fucking
that looked
cool.
fun. I wanted to.
But
ride
they
that,
also
yeah.
had 2 lines, so you could pick each line. You didn't have to do like just the one, and that's a big thing. Yeah, if they start like attacking your feet, just kind of shove them with your foot. Don't kick them, but like shove them and
I
leave you
just
alone.
jump that. Good lord.
They're fucking hilarious,
Told you,
eh?
Oh yeah, he's getting aggressive.
Hello.
He's like eyeballing me.
Nibbler, calm the fuck down.
He knows I've eaten one of his kind at one point.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
Oh, I get it, man.
Terrible.
Not a fan. I will not eat rabbit meat,
Terrible.
but I understand it. So, let's see here. Yeah. So as I was saying earlier, when we weren't on the podcast, I tried to Google Maps your jumps and I couldn't find them.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Did we mention that on the show already? I don't know. I think we did.
Early, yeah.
100%.
Yeah. You can't fucking find them, dude. It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
It's
I
a
like
secret.
that.
Yeah. I always put out Instagram posts.
I'm actually curious. When's the last, well, no, Google Maps wouldn't have crap, right?
I think
It would have been a couple of years ago. They actually update it pretty frequently. Like in
Yeah, it's
Kitchener,
so
I see the cars
Is
driving
it
around.
just
Yeah.
the car, though, right? So
It's
something
the
in
car that
bush-
does the stuff, but then the satellite photos they take from a satellite.
Okay,
out
so
of
check
space.
here. I wonder. Let's
Are we
Let's
look
see
right
how
now?
often.
I want to look at. We'll look at my trails and see if they pop up.
Okay.
I won't give the location over, obviously.
Sure. Here, do you want me to
Podcast.
play it? Do you want me to put it on the actual podcast screen or no?
No.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Here,
I
I'll
don't,
pull
I don't
it up.
own the property. It's private property. I built them on, so.
That's okay. I'll pull them up on my computer
Invite
here,
only.
and maybe we'll
But
find
I'm
it.
curious to see if it actually even if you can see them. Yeah.
I bet you could.
Probably.
Because you're in the open there, but you're back in the bush.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Here, I'm just pulling this up for you now.
You
So
know the location, right?
I do not. I'm gonna let you type it in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, do that.
That's fine.
So here, just
Go.
take this. You're good.
Look at this.
Yeah, just type in like where it's around and see if you can see it, and then we'll all take a look.
Anyway, you guys might as well chat on. But
Hell yeah. Oh man. I wonder if like people will ever figure out where certain trails are because of that. I wonder if there's trails that you can see from space. Like from a satellite.
It'd be hard. You'd have to have a sniff of where they were.
That's the
first,
thing.
you
I'm
know,
like,
or
I
else
bet
it'd
you
be,
need
know,
like to see like, Posh or a Caddy, you're not gonna see it because it's in a bunch of woods, right? Like maybe you'll see like I think it was the New Zealand trails we were talking about earlier
Yeah.
where it's a lot of open space
I'm
that's
sure you
not
can.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dude, maybe the that Daniel, what's his last name again? The guy who built those monster dirt jumps, like the 60-footers. His jumps you would have to be able to see from space because they're
Dane's
huge.
Rose.
Yeah, Dane's
Yeah.
Rose, if they're still there, yeah, who knows, right? I don't.
I thought they were. I thought somebody
Did
else
somebody
did
else
jump them.
fix them and jump them? Who knows? Who knows? But that was an amazing section. If you haven't seen that, you should Google it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, eh?
Yeah, yeah,
Fuck,
yeah. And it's
man.
for you, it's pretty old now. Too.
It's also like it's crazy to start seeing people do like the biggest jumps on a BMX bike like that because like they're not going to be able to do tricks, but like just the feat of itself to be able to gap that far is ridiculous. Because like I know people that won't even hit a 5-foot dirt jump because they think it's too far away, let alone fucking 70-foot. Like, dude, I have a hard time just hitting jumps for the
Yeah.
first time most of the time. Like I could not imagine fucking dropping
Yeah.
in and trying to get speed for that. How do you figure that out?
Yeah.
That's a good
Oh,
point,
yeah.
actually. How do you guys set up for, a full jump plan? How do you make sure that you're going to have enough speed? Do you build a certain jump, you build one, and then you figure out what your speed will be and kind of build it from there? Or do you build a bunch of them
I
and
think
make
we
it
touched a
work?
little bit on it before.
I guess it really...
you work with the lay of the land. Like that's
Yeah.
why the trails are always different. You kind of have to work with what Mother Nature gives you, both for drainage and for flow. But right, go ahead.
It all depends on what you're going for too, right? Like if you're set out to make something big, and then you know what you're looking for, right? You're probably looking for like a big hill that goes into the side of another big hill or something, so you can get a ton of speed. You know what I mean? Like a giant half pipe. And,
Oh, yeah.
but if you want to just build like when I set off to start building my jumps, I knew right away I was like I can't go crazy. I got to go moderate sized jumps so I can get a lot of them and have some some flow and some options. But I think it's just experience. I think the first couple of
I
dirt jumps
agree.
I built, I remember moving the landing.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing you can do, right? Like you do your best to guess it out, but once you start getting past, taking the board off of the brick and you're starting to build something that's like 4-foot lip with some transition or something, you know what I mean? You just go on feel and,
I think there's a lot to be
Send
said
it.
with, you know what I mean? Excuse the expression if you're not familiar with it, but I think most of us will be. But like your mind's eye or your third eye's view after
Yeah.
doing something for so long, I can look at something and calculate roughly how far I'm going to get off of it just because I can see it in my head.
Yeah.
And that's just from experience. So I think that plays a lot into it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's pretty easy to adjust the lip on some dirt, you know what I mean? If you're not, if you're sending it 10 feet into flat, then yeah, you got to move the whole fucking landing.
I think
you could just up the lip a little bit if you're
There's
overshooting
options,
it, you
yeah.
know what I mean? A couple.
Yeah.
And I think as any dirt jumper or dirt builder anyway, he learns quickly is like, you don't build something to jump the first time. If you make it the first time, by the time it packs in and you perfected it, you're going to be overshooting it. So you generally make something, you're building it a little bigger than you think you're going to make because, the first few, maybe the first 10 jumps, you're hoping you're going to case because as it hardens up, you're going to get further and further into it. So you tend to build bigger than you think you're going to get at first. I don't know. That's definitely how I generally tackle it. If I think the landing should be here, I'll even push it back 2 feet just to make myself struggle a bit. Yeah. And like Ryan said, it's easier to kind of, chuck a couple, piles of dirt on the lip or the landing after the fact.
Yeah.
But
that's a good point.
Yeah, I think if you're measuring, you're probably not building trails.
I don't know.
You're probably building like
I do
a contest set. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm measuring to a certain extent, right? Like, sure, I'll look at the lip and be like, shit, I think that's going to be, 15-foot gap. And then I'll just take my feet and take 15 steps and be like, oh, we'll start building my landing. You know what I mean? But is that measuring?
Okay. So for me, I legitimately actually, like when I started with my area, I took, a measuring tape, like a 200-yard measuring tape. And I would measure the distance of like an area I was going to work with.
Okay.
And then, like you say, you're deciding what style of jumps are going to be. Are they going to be, 4-foot lips and, 12, 15-foot gaps?
Yep.
Or are we talking like 9-foot lips and 26 or 30-foot gaps?
Yeah.
That's going to dictate how many you got in the row and stuff. But yeah, like I would measure it out. And then within that idea of like, I'm going to build 5-foot sets, I could probably fit 4 or 5 in this run. And I'll measure it out knowing roughly, okay, I'm going to be going this fast. So when I land here with this much speed.
So I think that what the whole question's about, though, right? So I think it's probably just, the knowledge of how fast or how far you're going to fucking fly.
Like, you can't just build the lip and then figure it out after. You need to have a landing ramp.
You have like a rough idea.
Yeah.
And I think if you're putting a shovel in the ground and building a jump, you probably got a good idea.
Well,
I think what I mean?
At
Like,
first you don't,
probably,
right? And then here we are 25, 30 years later building dirt jumps. And I don't have to
adjust
it's
all
too
like,
much.
Yeah, it's probably just,
When
trial and error.
I started, there was a lot of adjustments. And then you try to find ways to move the dirt less. Yeah. How can I build this without having to move this 10 times because of my, the fact that I've gotten better or that, I built it too small, or I'll say this: I haven't run into it. I have built it too big yet. I thought I built it too big while I was building it, but it's never been where in the end I've never been able to make
short,
it. You might the first bunch of times you try it, but I've never built a project that in the end I didn't end up clearing. So that inspired me to always go bigger. I mean, Ryan, you're in a situation with your yard, you're constricted. Yeah. In my situation, I've got, it's a private property, but it's like crown land and it's in the bush. It's huge. So I'm unrestricted too much by space. So I had the affordability to build some pretty big jumps. I mean, not necessarily triple crown size, although I do have a jump there that is that size.
Nice.
It gives you the different options. Yeah.
Did you end up pulling that photo up? Could you see it on there or no?
Oh shit.
Spacebar. It's the easiest password ever. You just got to hit it once and then enter.
Cool. I'm pretty.
It's coming back, probably.
Oh, you okay. So this is what I've got that came up, and I'm pretty shitty on a computer here.
That's
so,
okay. Here, I'll take a look.
That's what I got to pull up. I don't even think it's. I can't. Here, you try and zoom in on that. I don't know. I don't think you can zoom. I don't know if it is my trails or not. That could be a different area. I haven't got in close enough to see it clearly.
I see a bunch of open land here.
No. Not that.
So right here, this little dirt thing.
Yeah, I think it's zoom into that and see how.
Oh, that's as far as it's gonna go. You can't see any further, but I bet you that's where it is. I bet you. Right there, probably, right?
Zoom out a bit.
Maybe if slide over.
Yeah, hold on. Go over to the right a little more.
Oh, over here?
Yeah,
That might be them.
it.
You guys finding trouble?
Holy shit!
I think that's it.
I won't go in any further, but I bet you that's them. It looks
Yeah, it is it.
just from
that is them.
Jesus Christ, guys, we have just made a fucking discovery.
They look actually huge.
You can find trail riders in space now.
That's kind of crazy.
That's incredible, actually. I cannot believe that. Ryan, do you want to check this out? Look at this.
Yeah, pass it over.
Oh, it kind of came up clearer. Is there like blue spots? Is there like pools or something you guys have set up? Maybe it's just
Tarps. Those are tarps.
Tarps. Holy shit.
Those are fairly recent.
Oh wow.
Those are like, that's actually your trails.
That is my trails.
That's incredible.
That's it though. Those are the tarps from. That's actually recent. That's this year's photo. Then that must be very recent.
Damn.
It is, right? You're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I am in the middle of nowhere. Like you
That's
know
so
what?
funny.
It's so secluded that it'd be very difficult for anyone to ever get to. And of course, it's on secured property to some degree. But
Yeah.
I just wouldn't want to cause trouble for them. But yeah, it's pretty.
Is there
pretty
like
awesome.
a second set of trails here? Because I'm seeing a lot of
No.
other stuff too.
No, but okay. So it is an actual it's a camp that you go to.
Okay, because I was gonna say I see like a walking, like it looks like a walking trail or something right here, and then
There's
like a
Vehicle
fucking
trails
tennis
and-
court.
Yep.
Yeah, some tennis courts,
That's all
basketball
of it.
courts.
It's an amazing.
Oh yeah,
place.
it's literally I see the camp there. I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want people to just show up there. Oh, you got a decent lake there, lots of good water. That's a big thing with building trails. You need to have a good water source.
Yeah,
At the step up in Kitchener, it wasn't a good water source. We had a fucking kiddie pool that we dug into the ground, and that was it.
The camp there has been very gracious to me. They've worked with me. They've actually supplied me with they trenched out a line with a backhoe and supplied me with a water supply, like an actual faucet and everything like that. So
that's incredible.
That's pretty awesome. And as secretive as I kind of am being about it, it's because I don't want to, like you say, cause issues for them to have people show up in the property.
Oh, of course.
But, I will plug myself a little bit in the sense that I am trying to develop a program where I can bring BMX specific adult riders, 19 plus kind of thing, and have everybody out for like a long weekend where they would come out and check out the trails, get to ride the trails for a bit, and get to live a little bit of camp life. So maybe in a different episode or something in the future, we'll talk about that.
Hell yeah, I'm down. That's really interesting. Something to bring up about trail riding and what you were saying, just having people out there. Obviously, Jordan Bonifacio. You guys went and saw Atmosphere last week, I believe,
Correct.
right? That
Yes,
must have
one
been
of the
incredible.
closest friends of life for sure. He's
Yeah.
amazing
So we all know that Jordan was actually a professor at the university in Ottawa, I believe,
Professor of
teaching.
rampology.
Yeah, rampology, building ramps.
That's
So-
amazing.
Do you think that maybe one day
it's
that could
amazing.
actually become a thing within those schools, is how to learn
Well, it
trail
is. I think-
building?
Well, it is actually.
Well, it is
So-
actually, yeah, because
So Steve Morrow works
Right.
for the Yard, who's another amazing legend of
That's
a
right.
fella. But
I saw those posts too. That
yeah,
was on
he
Insta.
teaches the dirt side at the Bros Farm, which deserves
Yeah.
another mention. Who I unfortunately didn't get to make it out to the last jam they had, and I
Wanna
don't know
go?
if they're going to have another
We're
one.
gonna go
But
to the next one.
yeah, if they do, I'm definitely down for that.
All right.
And he runs that. And
yeah, exactly. Sorry, I can't fucking keep a straight face. He had like such a sexual voice right into the microphone. Oh yeah, you want to go to the Bros
Go to
Farm?
the Bros Farm.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
the perfect ASMR voice.
We'll ride some
Jesus,
bikes.
talking on that, you
Some
talk about
bikes.
Guelph Trails used to have quite the
Go to Cox.
ride some
Cox
cocks.
Trails.
Go ride Cox.
As this wooden penis sits on the desk in front. Why is it in front of me?
I don't know. I just said it wherever. I love it.
I'll
It's hilarious.
yeah.
On Jordan's episode, he was so nice enough. Like he was nice enough to give me a fucking new Riding Ramco shirt. Folded it up, set it on the desk, put the dick on it.
I have 2 of those shirts. I love them.
Oh man, I was wearing one yesterday at work. It's hilarious.
He gave one that's way too small for me. I still wear it just
He was
because.
supposed to give me one, but he didn't.
Jordan, what the
Jordan.
fuck?
Okay,
I
so
call him out.
yeah, we're gonna call. You'll be one at your doorstep soon.
Yeah, he'll ship it to you. It'd be awesome. Oh fuck. So let's see. We talked about jumps, in your sessions at your house and how they're just awesome. Let's see what else we got here. let's talk about, maybe what you got going on for next year for plans for it. So do you have any ideas for next year? What
Just
you're going to
same
do?
thing.
Just same thing?
Just
Keep
same
it updated?
thing. Try and throw out like a month in advance.
Nice.
See if we get a bunch of respondents.
There you go. We were earlier talking about like having a water source, and that's something that's awesome about your place is that you actually have a water hookup because it's in the middle of the city.
That when we were talking about it,
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
every time that I've went out there riding, every hour or so, he hops off the bike and just starts spraying the jumps.
Yeah. Keep the dust down for the neighbors and keep it all, trying to get the grooves going because usually it's just a couple of us out there, right?
Yeah.
When you get 20 guys over, it really helps pack it down real
Oh,
fast.
fuck
right?
yeah.
So I like to take advantage of the fact that everybody's there because they're kind of packing down all my shit for me.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, no, and I couldn't tell you how many times I went to the river with the bucket, or
Sandy trails.
something stupid. You know what I mean? Not even in my backyard, but
No, that's what I'm talking about. The
yeah.
sandy trails. You used to have to bucket that stuff.
Yeah, bucket water. So yeah, definitely having a hose back there.
It's fucking
spoiled.
life-changing, eh?
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, man. Like, what was I going to say? I had something on my mind there, and I lost it. But maybe we'll come back to that. Let's see here. We're getting to the end of this, boys. We fucking got like 3 more questions on here that I've got written down. This is awesome, though. We've already done, 2.5 hours right now we're at. So,
Time flies.
yeah, dude.
Talk
Let's
about
see.
something you love.
So something that I've talked about quite a bit on the show is just the lifestyle aspect of BMX. When you're into BMX, it plays a big part in the life that you live, including the clothes you wear, the music you listen to, the people that you look up to. It's pretty crazy to think that, a 20-inch bike can shape your life. What do you think are some of the most
It's crazy.
shaping aspects of trail riding? When it comes to the clothes you wear, the music you listen to? What's something that when you see it or hear it, you think trail riding?
What do you got, Ryan?
Oh fuck, so many things though, right? But I think that's just because,
I think it's dependent on the era, maybe in some sense. It's music can bring you to a certain situation or a moment in your life you can remember it be attached to a song.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
feel like, even BMX videos did that to me. I can think of certain videos where it's just like I hear a song and I can just think of that part.
Yeah, exactly. When I think like Mike Aiken or when I think Judas Priest, I think about, Anthem 2, that first part.
Oh, for sure. When certain songs come on the radio, right? You definitely relate that. That always happens, right? I wouldn't say that's specific to trails or whatever. That's probably biking in general, right? Yeah, riding in general.
Although when I think about, when I hear a song from CCR or anything like that,
That's
instantly
a trail song.
Clint Reynolds,
absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll probably have to, credence for that. We can thank him.
Hell yeah.
God bless you.
It's pretty crazy, man. One of the things that my girlfriend and I are planning on doing in the next couple of years is we're going to buy a school bus and we're going to turn it into a house on the road, essentially.
Beautiful.
That's how we're going to do my podcast. We're just going to travel and do it. And, I think that's such a BMX lifestyle. You know what I mean? Not specifically trails, but you can definitely see as we were saying earlier with FBM and whatnot.
Yeah.
Steve Crandall lives in his fucking bus,
I think that could be shared with a certain type of individual. I think skateboarders, surfers, that kind of lifestyle. I'm, it's kind of off topic, but I'm heavy into climbing as well, and that's
nice.
something in the climbing world you see a lot of guys doing that stuff too. So I think there's a certain individual that just kind of goes to that type of stuff. Even in my climbing gym, I can say that there's a bunch of riders. Like Ryan climbs. We can think of some skateboarders that I know that are at the climbing gym, and so I think there's like activities. So surfing is the same thing, and skating, and I think the freedoms that they afford us kind of transfer over into it, like you say, help shape. Looking for that next kind of free feeling, if it sense, and what more than living in a bus, by a mountain base or by
wherever you want,
ocean.
right?
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
You can have that view and get to go ride the skate park or the trails there. Or
that's the thing. I'm I've never really traveled too far. The farthest I've ever been is to Montreal. And don't get me wrong, I fucking love Montreal. But I want BMX to take me everywhere. I want to be able to fucking go and ride like in BC and talk to, you know, the BC locals and talk to some of the BC pros. You know, Jay Miron lives out there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I already asked him and he's not interested.
Oh no.
But
You
well,
should-
it's mainly just because he's not into BMX anymore.
Yeah,
Like
so
he was so flattered. He was saying like, "Thank you so much," but like, it's just not my thing anymore, and I don't think I would be interested in that. And like I tell everybody that's denied to be on the podcast or just isn't interested at the moment, let me know. Hit me up.
Yeah.
If you're ever interested, just send me a message. Even if you think that you're kind of on the fence about it, let me know, because I would love to just sit down and do what we're doing right now. You know what I mean? So, oh man,
Yeah, interesting how you, I think shaping, how BMX shaping part of your lifestyle is. I definitely, traveling to a place where you didn't know anybody, could show up at a skate park and still have somebody offer you a couch to sleep on and a meal kind of thing. It's a weird camaraderie thing that you see in BMX. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, people I've never met who would invite me to come ride their scene. You know, that's a cool aspect that you don't. You know, travel I think is innately part of BMX in a sense, because if you're a street rider, you're looking for those new spots, so you're going to travel to them, whether it's city to city or trail riders, you know, popular trails to other ones, and you know, skate parks obviously different. So I think that's definitely part of it. And
Absolutely.
traveling, you know, molds you as an individual because you get to see different aspects of the world and life and different people's situations, and I think that gives you some perspective to life. And yeah.
no, I get that. I completely agree. Yeah, man. We had like when I had Ben, which you might have met Ben. He was at it was in September. We were at your place.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So UK Ben, same situation. Like him and his girlfriend bought
Absolutely.
a camper. They moved to Canada from the UK and they just wanted to travel. So, you know, I let them know, hey, come by my house. We spent the whole weekend together.
Yeah.
I've said this like a
So
billion
awesome.
times on the show, but like, where do you find that anywhere else? You know, you can't fucking be that into football or hockey and go and live at somebody's house for the weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Who's never met
yeah,
you before.
who's never
but-
met you before. It's across the fucking planet.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna find that? Like,
And they know that you're probably a pretty decent individual. It's such a strange. Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, exactly. I just heard like there's a little farm right near my house there. I can just fucking barely hear like the roosters and shit going on back there.
I heard as we were walking up. Yeah, I heard the roosters going.
Oh man, here you go, Ryan. Yeah. Let's I got one more question here for you guys.
All right.
So, if you had to make a convincing argument to the younger kids on why they should get off their ass and build some jumps, what would it be?
Wow.
It's a tough one, eh?
Well, I think as a youth, when you're growing up, you're looking for a lot of control in your life, right? Like as you're younger, you know, your parents give you a little bit more control over your own decisions and stuff. What could be more fun than controlling, you know, your own fun? Like you can build your own fun.
Yeah.
You know, you
I
really
agree- I
control
agree.
the entire
It's like this-
situation.
It's
You
like
make what,
Crandall's hashtag, right?
yeah, like, absolutely. You just get to make your own fun. There's no excuse, right? Like if they're back in my and Ryan's day, there was a lot less municipal parks or indoor parks. You'd have to travel hours, you know, usually just asking your mom or somebody's, you know, older sibling or something who had a vehicle to drive you. That was a lot harder. So, you know, you're either going to build your own ramp or
You're gonna have to fucking
you dig it, right? It's
Yeah.
easier to find Dad's shovel and build a dirt jump than
Yeah.
build
you
a
find the
quarter
power
pipe or
tools,
something.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think it's more accessible, and I think I don't know. I think it builds a good work ethic too, in a sense, right? I feel like you get out of it what you put into it, right? You build that perfect set of
Yeah,
trails, you
it's
get that
just like-
perfect feeling of riding, you know.
Yeah, you can, you know, if you don't like your skate park, you can build some dirt jumps. you know.
Oh, of course.
That was kind of, you know, I always liked the dirt better. Just it was a little bit bigger at the time, you know what I mean? And I really like going fast and trying to blast. And, you know, skate parks nowadays are, you know, equally as big and awesome and crazy shit, but, you know, I can't build a freaking skate park in my backyard. I could build some trails. And I don't think, you know, I don't, the smoothness of the trails, right? And you know, like you say, I'm going to ride trails until I, you know, absolutely can't. And I'm hoping I can ride, you know, as long as like Cam Milliken comes
Yeah,
over
you have to
and,
message
you know,
his name. I'm surprised it took this long.
He's going to,
Absolute legend. Was he?
Yeah.
Been riding forever. He announced. We were talking. You asked me in the beginning of this podcast about where my riding started.
Yeah, he was around.
And he announced the very first race I ever raced at Track 2000 when I was like 11, 12 years old.
Cam over? Do you know Cam?
And he still jumps the jumps. Like, it's
No,
amazing.
Cam's a BMX racer. But
Okay.
he lives in London, and he's he's known in the BMX racing community. And
Maybe I should hit him up.
he comes over.
He's well worth that.
Yeah.
He's
should,
a
for sure.
wealth of knowledge. And
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always at the end of this, I'm just going to grab you guys to like write out anybody you think would be interesting because I love to get people's opinions on who they want to hear a story of.
Yeah.
It's not even for me. It's just one of those things where I'm like, if you want to hear it, 100% other people do.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
Yeah, for sure. But no,
He's not so much obviously freestyle, but he'll give you
he
insight into the
comes
racing
over
world.
and he'll use the backyard to practice, just his flow. And,
I think I might have met him.
yeah.
I think I did because I think he was over there the one day and we were
I
talking
feel
about
like
that.
you were there.
Yeah,
at the
I
same
must
time.
have met him.
Yeah.
You can't miss him. He's got long flowing locks,
flowy gray hair. Yeah.
Oh, I think I know what guy you're talking about.
Yeah, it's Cam.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Usually
man.
rides a bit
Cruiser.
Yeah.
Cruiser nowadays.
Yeah, but he'll come over and ride trails. But.
Damn, man. Yeah, there's a whole, secret what's the best word to basically put this, but like trail riding is its own thing. And like I feel like a lot of people don't know about it,
Yeah.
I think a lot of kids like they get into street riding, they'll ride skate parks, but they don't get into the actual aspects of building and really like taking care of trails and doing something you want to do cuz like realistically, there's only so much you can do at a skate park. There's
Is
only
it harder
so much.
nowadays? Was there less restrictions, right? Like,
I think there's more
shit's
motivation.
changing and everything's crazy
Yeah.
nowadays, right? Like, I just wonder, taking a shovel into the bush and starting digging today in
There's
London,
less bushland.
would there be different? Would I get different resistance than when I did do it? 15 years ago, and
Maybe.
I bet you
Possibility.
people would look at me and go like, "What the fuck is he doing?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, fuck.
I feel like there's less spaces to do it though, right? There's like everywhere's getting
Especially
bought
around where
up.
we live, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, and stuff like
Apartment
that. But it
buildings
is
go up.
definitely I don't see it as much as I used to, right? And I don't hear about it as much.
There's
as
more
I used
parks
to.
too, right?
But there are
So
more
less
parks,
reasons.
right? Yeah,
Less reasons
and
to
there's more of
build.
those, publicly funded, the straight line jumps as well as like, you got some that are kind of like trails.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Is that why they're not doing it? Is it just because there's parks around?
I think so, maybe because I bet that like the fact of not having many parks around. So I remember when I first got into BMX, we took shovels and just built a little fucking lip out of a hill,
Yep.
and like that was like
Yeah.
the best. We rode that forever. I bet you that lip is still there. I bet you it's not good anymore, but like it's just one of those things that like we didn't have anything. The town I lived in was like maybe 800 people lived there.
Yeah.
I feel like the towns that those places like Milton at that time for me, because there was these amazing trails, there was an amazing dirt scene.
Yeah.
Somebody pioneered that by putting in the efforts.
Yeah, and then other people
Therefore,
found it.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you build it, they will come kind of stuff. Whereas it's much harder to be the groundbreaker and go and put the first 2-3 years into a spot before people go, hey, there's a pretty cool spot there.
And then you also have to face the like things that go along with that, where your trails might get ripped out because
Yeah,
now people are coming there.
That's exactly it.
Right? That's a
100%.
big thing, and a big thing within street riding and filming street is that like people will hide their spots. Like
Absolutely.
That's
we
why
had Ozzy on the show. He's
Oh,
the
yeah.
king of he's got Googled spots that he just won't tell nobody. Right?
exactly. That's the thing. We were in Montreal in 2018 for the summer. I went there for like a week. And, Travis, he's like best friends with Ozzy. He fucking calls up Ozzy. Hey, man, we're trying to find this wall ride school. Ozzy wouldn't give it to him. He just is like, no, you can't go there. It's like, we're literally
that's Ozzy.
we're literally in Montreal right now.
Yeah.
So then Ozzy's like, fine, but if you guys,
Okay.
he's like, okay, but Travis, you got to buy me Golden Star with a beer, 2 beers, Golden Star with 2 beers, and then, you got to tag me on Instagram if you do find, like, if you guys do post anything.
What a ledge.
So that's the thing. Like, everybody got to ride there. It was incredible. Such a great spot. We filmed a lot of cool ass tricks there. And in fact, Garrett Reynolds actually ended up one-upping Travis. So on the side of this
That's
school,
not surprising. It's
right?
one
So
ups everybody.
on the side of this school, there's like a fence, like 2 feet of flat ground, and then a big concrete bank. Travis comes riding in as fast as he can, hops up off the bank onto this rail, and then over to double peg on the other side, like land, roll for 10 feet, double peg on the other rail. Garrett Reynolds shows up, does the same thing, rolls up to pegs, bar over pegs, manual, tooth hanger down the next rail. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even just a 1-up, that's like a 4-up.
Yeah.
I'm like, you fucking asshole.
On a different level.
Garrett is so good. He's unreal.
Different level for sure.
Yeah, and he's another person that, like, yeah, he rides street. He rides a little bit of park, not very often, but you can tell that motherfucker has rode dirt.
You can
Like,
ride anything.
yeah, he's unreal.
All of it, right? Yeah. Yeah. It's just amazing.
Oh, man. Guys, this has been incredible.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
Fun. No. Well, go ride some trails or
Yeah.
make them.
Pick up a fucking
Yeah.
shovel.
That's right.
Grab your bike.
Yeah.
Make your own
Go
fun.
build something, dude.
Shape your own path.
Exactly. I like that. Shape your own path. That's a good fucking way to end this off.
Deep.
Thank you guys for you got a what is this going on here? Do you have that on your Yeah, hell yeah, I like that. Fuck yeah, man. Shape your own path on his leg if you couldn't see it there, guys.
Big old shovel.
Big old shovel. Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming out today and just talking to me about trail riding.
Thanks for having us, man.
We're 100% going to do this again, except we're going to bring in like 4 more trail riders, and it'll be ridiculous. We'll all sit here and chain smoke joints and drink some beers, except for you. I'll make sure you get the best water, though, or something.
Yeah. This is pretty good water.
There you go.
Stoked.
It's Kitchener water. It's pretty dope. A little different from London.
I'm looking forward to the spring session.
Hell
we'll
yeah.
have to post something, maybe do something on the spring session. Even
I want to come ride your jumps that you're building that. I don't know if that's a possibility.
That is a
but
possibility, yes.
I might make that happen.
I do. The camp allows me a couple days each year where I'm allowed to throw a jam. So
Nice.
last year was the first time that we had enough of a situation where we could make it happen with both people available to come out and the camp willing to work with it. So last year was a blast. Hopefully, if everything goes well, this upcoming, August is usually where it is. If people have interest in going to it, it's invite only, but just hit me up with the DM or whatever.
Oh, I'm fucking down. I'll be there.
As long as I know you're coming, then we make the arrangements.
Hell yeah. I'll bring my portable studio, and we'll all sit around and talk about trail riding at the
Amazing.
trails. That'd be
Amazing.
incredible. Hell yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for tuning in today. Make sure you come in tomorrow for the Goat Cave podcast with Adam Maroka at Station BMX. We're going to do all of our normal segments there. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming out. This has been a lot of fun. Fucking peace out, guys.
Take care.
See you.